Yes,
Good evening.
good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm just checking to see if we are coming up on the adjusted YouTube channel. I put a message there to make sure that we were receiving it here. So that's loyal opposition present. Um, yes, we are live. we are we are live on YouTube.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
We are most definitely. Now, let me just greet the people.
yes,
Good evening,
yes.
everybody.
Go right ahead.
Hi, this is Marcia Weeks, and you're watching the Marcia Weeks show. And we have our co-host tonight, His Excellency Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols. And I know that a little later on, we're going to have Kimar is going to join us. But I just want to welcome everybody on tonight. And you see my festive lights behind me? You see my lights?
Yes, I see them, and you've outdone me. I'm going to have to get some for the next time I'm on. I'm going to have to get my granddaughter or somebody because I don't know anything about that stuff at all. So they're going to have to decorate behind me and put something up there.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Ah,
see Winston is on. Winston Clark is
yes,
on.
and
Winston, we're
and
going to
Rem
ask you,
and
yeah, hold on a
Remium
second.
6070.
Yes, Winston, I just want to ask you to do me a huge favor, Winston. I need you to help me, my brother. You know, I got myself into some trouble last night. We're not going to mention anything, Reverend, about that because I'm on Kimar's YouTube page, and we just have to respect that. I just need you, Winston, to help me to get the word out on this particular broadcast and to let people know. Ramim, I'm asking you to do the same. Please to do the same. We will do our best tonight because people are going to be trying to find out where we are. So we're going to need everybody's help to make sure that that happens. This is indeed really really wonderful to have everybody on tonight, and I know that they are sharing. And yes, Ramim said done. So share, Ramim, if you can get a message out to people that you know who normally watches the show. That would be yes. Thank you. Mystic Angel found us. Mystic Angel, please let others know that we are on. Let others know that we are. Well, while we're waiting for others to come on, we have a very a wonderful show. There is this film that was done by a dear friend of mine, Regina Ulador, from Nigeria, and it's called A Warm Christmas. Have you been to Nigeria, Pastor Ferdinand?
No, you would not believe it, but I have not been to Africa. And I'm
Wow.
looking forward, even though I oversee about 60 churches there, I have not put my physical foot in Africa yet, but I'm
Oh,
looking forward
wow.
to it.
Well, guess what? Guess what? This is what we'll do for you tonight. We're going to take you on that journey to Nigeria. So,
Love it. Love
and
it.
in the film, I had the opportunity of watching this film, and it is beautiful. What happens is that you get to see and experience Christmas in Nigeria.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I was very, very curious because I wondered, I wonder how do they celebrate Christmas? But I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give anything away. The film opens up at Olympus Cinemas, and I'm going to ask Dave if he can
Wow.
go ahead and to just show I think I have I think
The
I have the
trailer?
trailer. I
Yeah,
believe
I'd love
I'm
to
able
see
to do
that.
that. Let me just do that. I believe I'm able to do that. Yeah, but it's a beautiful, really, really beautiful film. And yeah, I think he will have to do that for me. So we will wait until until it comes up. Yeah, well there it goes.
Darling, we're sending you all to Nigeria for the holiday. Your dad and I want you guys to experience Christmas in Nigeria.
I still haven't figured out why Mom insisted on us coming here.
Wake up, please. It's time for morning devotion.
What in God's name are you wearing?
What
But to
don't have cluster screens puff.
don't dress like does not make you any better.
Kids, anyway, kids are.
Come and play with us.
I met somebody. And
Okay, all right. So our internet, it is slowing down the feed of the trailer. I was hoping that I had it on right here on StreamYard, but because I really wanted to see it, so we're going to try again to get it on StreamYard itself, so that we can show you, the ad that we have. But it's a really beautiful film, and we're going to be talking about that in a few minutes. But in the meantime, guys, we're asking you to share and to we had a little setback there, okay? But I can actually even just show you the flyer. So this is the flyer here. And it is, as I tell you, it looks warm. Doesn't it look warm, Reverend?
Oh yes. Oh yes, it definitely does. It has to be a warm Christmas in Nigeria. I don't think sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? It's going to be appropriate for that.
Well, Regina is here, and she's going to tell me actually, whether it is warm or if it gets cold in Nigeria. I actually never been to Nigeria. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Ghana, but I haven't been to Nigeria. But it's the same weather there, regardless. Yeah, it's the same weather. But yeah, I'm just here trying to. Yes, there we go. All right, good. Okay, so I hope you need to take the wife out to see this one.
Absolutely. When is it going to be showing?
Well, we're because of just how tonight we had these technical issues, we can go ahead. If Regina is ready, she's actually where she is actually 5 hours ahead of us. Regina, are you there? And are you ready?
Whoa.
There you are.
Wow.
Hi.
Isn't it amazing? Hi, how are you, Regina? So nice to meet my African sister.
Thank you. Actually, that's what Marcia and myself call each other.
Is that right?
Nice
Wow.
meeting you, Reverend.
My goodness, I have not touched the physical land. I am looking forward to it with every bone in my being.
You're welcome. You're so welcome, and you're going to have a really lovely experience.
I came close once, very close. Last year, we were doing some online training with a number of African leaders in Nigeria and Kenya, and they wanted to bring us in for an induction ceremony and everything, but that didn't work out. I was so disappointed. So I'm looking forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe for the next movie, Marcia, I can fly in and take a part. What do you think?
I think so. I think you do a great job. Regina.
Absolutely. We take you on that.
Well, my sister, congratulations on your new film, and it is screening in Barbados. It's making its world premiere. It's a world premiere.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I'm very excited. I just had a nostalgic moment when I met you and Dave at Rwanda, at the what was it again? AMA Awards. The African Movie Academy Awards. And I remember our flight back, or rather, I remember when we had the interview before, because it was on our way to the interview that made us start talking. And I remember all the things that we talked about and planned. And I you know how you talk, but you sometimes are hopeful, like, oh, I hope this really comes true. And I see that it's happening. Like in this past 4 or 5 years, we've not actually lost that contact, but instead we've grown and gotten better, as brothers and sisters, and even bridging the gap of, you know just having just knowing that we have you guys there, and that it's a pity we've not had a connection all this while, but that we are actually doing something towards that. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes, it was indeed a great connection to the point now where your film is being streamed in Barbados,
Yeah.
and people are going to the cinema to see A Warm Christmas.
Yes, yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Yes. Oh yeah, there you go. This looks really nice. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Dave. So a warm Christmas. I live in Norway, and
Mm-hmm.
currently, or at least a few days ago, we had about minus 15 degrees, minus 16 degrees.
Wow.
And yeah, and if you live here, or if you have a bit of an idea of how cold it is, you sometimes also understand why, when it's Christmas time, the Norwegian culture is that they just spend time with just very close family, and they're
Yes.
indoors. They don't
Mm-hmm.
go out. I mean, it's too cold, and inside is, it's cozy. So when we moved to Norway, it was a really, really strange experience for me. I kept asking my husband, well, why are we not going out? Like, why is everybody inside and all of that? And then definitely when the kids started coming and they started growing, they also were wondering why we were always celebrating Christmas indoors, right?
Yes.
And then 2 years ago, Christmas, we're sitting around the table, and then the kids were asking, but how is Christmas in Nigeria?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh my God, do you want to know? And they're like, yeah, I guess it's something we would at some point get to know about. So I
Mm-hmm.
started telling them the story, and they were so fascinated, and they were like, really? Like, people go around, obviously they couldn't even imagine it, because all their lives we spent Christmas indoors, except the Christmases which we spent out of Norway,
Mm-hmm.
because we had to go somewhere warmer. So so yeah, and that's where, when we finished telling them the story, my husband turned and goes, wow, wouldn't this make a good film?
Ah.
And that man is funny, because he really knows some things that he just plants the ideas, and he knows that I would definitely go for it. so,
Yes.
but that's where actually, we thought, okay, this would be nice for us to tell a story. And then, of course, we started researching and found out that we don't actually make seasonal films, stories
Mm-hmm.
that has to go with the season. And so we didn't really have, I don't know, out of Nigeria or probably African, I don't think we have up to even 10 films on
Mm-hmm.
about Christmas. But obviously we celebrate Christmas, and it's very different. So that's why we went ahead to do A Warm Christmas. And we're very excited because um, it was a time of the year, the time we filmed. I think I remember calling Masi and telling you know what, I have this film that I'm going to make. I think is a bit crazy, because I'm going to be working with kids on set. And interestingly, I tried to get, because I, prefer to be a producer. So I chose to produce instead of directing. But this time around, I think I couldn't run away from this, because I had to I had to direct it. So here we are, A Warm Christmas, with a group of young actors. We had over 25 kids on set. So I'm really excited for people to watch it.
Okay. Wonderful.
Is that,
Wonderful.
is that a Volkswagen?
Sorry?
Is that a Volkswagen?
Yes. Yeah. So there's a special surprise in the film. When you watch the film, you get to see there's a special car in it. And interestingly, when we were looking for what kind of poster we were going to do for the film, and I happened to be with one of my colleagues here in Norway, and I showed her a couple of pictures. I mean, the daughter, sorry, a couple of pictures, and she chose this one. And this one was picked by a young friend of mine from Tunisia, actually. She's the one that made this poster. So I'm really happy that the film, everything about One Christmas gave us opportunity of reaching out to different people that also collaborated to make it successful.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I know that the movie has started in the Olympus cinemas, and we're just going to show the this is I think this is the ad, the Barbadian ad, the Bajan ad for the film that is showing here in Barbados at the Olympus. Listen to me, Dr. Ferdinand, you've got to take the wife.
You have to send me the ad. You have to send me the ad so I can put it on my Facebook page and I can circulate it out there that other people can get to go see it, because all we really get here in Barbados is I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and we don't see no white in Barbados at all. I'm sorry.
Well, we are going to let's hope we can see. Dave, are we ready? Can we see it? Yes, so let's see it. Let's see it. But guys, I'm telling you, you're in for a treat. You're really in for a treat. If you can get to the cinema, please. You're in for a treat.
Join me this Christmas season at the Olympus Cinema for a brand new Nigerian family film, A Warm Christmas, as a westernized Nigerian family encounters the depths of true family back home in Nigeria. Laugh and cry as this family wrestles with the strength of the African tradition in a real and fascinating way. This award-winning film will inspire you by the love, the warmth, and the faith of the African way. As father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and grandchildren meander into discovering what Christmas really means and how it is celebrated in Africa. Don't miss this timely film at the Olympus. Check their website for showtimes and bring the entire family for a warm Christmas this Christmas.
Wow.
Oh.
Did you all see that? I love it. I love it. Can we want to see it again. We want to see it again.
Join me this Christmas season at the Olympus Cinema for a brand new Nigerian family film, A Warm Christmas, as a westernized Nigerian family encounters the depths of true family back home in Nigeria. Laugh and cry as this family wrestles with the strength of the African tradition in a real and fascinating way. This award-winning film will inspire you by the love, the warmth, and the faith of the African way. As father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and grandchildren meander into discovering what Christmas really means and how it is celebrated in Africa. Don't miss this timely film at the Olympus. Check their website for showtimes and bring the entire family for a warm Christmas this Christmas.
Lovely, absolutely lovely. My goodness.
My goodness, simply
And the energy. Oh my god, that's what I know Africans for. Energy.
Yes.
There's so
Energy.
much,
That's true.
so much energy. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Well, it sounds like our family: mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, children, and grandchildren. That sounds like our family, Marcia.
Yes. So, Regina, can you tell us do you have the show times there? Do you know when it opens here, when it starts? I know it started here already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now we have it screen 3 at the Olympus Cinema. What we have was 4:30 p.m. I don't know if because at the weekend it changed a little bit to 9.
Yeah, I think Dave would have to put the information in, because that's the only way we'd know. She would have to put the information in the chat so that people, I'm sure if they go online, they'll be able to see it.
They'll
But
also
it'd be
see it,
nice
yes.
for them to be able to. Somebody saying, "Do you all like this film, guys?"
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Are you gonna go to see it, Gelbis? Rameem, you're gonna go out to see it?
And take the kids; they're gonna love it.
Yes. Well, I want to what I want to say is tomorrow, not tomorrow night, on Wednesday, we're going to probably see some of the children on here on Wednesday. Yes?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So wonderful. Well, Regina, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. And I think people are saying, yes, sure will. Yes, Heathcliff. Yes, Heathcliff, bring the kids, guys. And we're going to keep showing it. Dave, just once you put it on the screen, Dave, I'll keep showing it throughout the night. And just to get people all into it and want to see it. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. God bless you. And I know what time is it again in Norway right now? It's about 12:30.
It's it's about 12:30 in the night, midnight.
Well, we don't envy you. You keep your -12. That's fine. We'll stay with our 86. God bless you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful. God bless you. Have a great
Lovely
evening.
meeting you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. God bless. Bye-bye, Regina.
Bye.
God bless. Bye-bye. Oh, that was wonderful. Didn't you love that?
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to see what Christmas is like in Nigeria. I really am. I really am.
You know what I love? I saw them. I saw them with the little ball. The playing the little bottle.
Yes.
The bottle cover.
Yes, I saw that.
It was. I actually watched the entire thing with a big smile on my face. You know.
So it's on right now. I was just on to the Olympus, just looking to see what the times are, but it should be there on the Olympus schedule. Okay, let's see here. Now, where in the world did Marcia go?
I am right here. Ta-da! I come.
Don't you abandon me now.
I reappear. We're waiting. We're seeing Honorable Coretta McDonald is in the studio with us, and she's going to get ready to come on. And let me just see who else is here with us. Okay, Kimar is here. He's getting his devices ready. And I'm really hoping that Mr. Caswell had gotten the link, because we had so much at the beginning, at the start of the show. We had some challenges there. I think we are settling down. For those of you who are wondering what has happened on YouTube, we don't have, our channel is down on YouTube. And we're not, probably it's because of the show we did. We don't know if we were reported. We don't know what happened. But we're here, and we're on Facebook, and we are also on Kimar's page, which is Alternate Views, which is not a bad thing, because I'm going to ask everybody who's on tonight to go ahead and to subscribe, to like and subscribe to Kimar's channel, Alternate Views. We're also live on Instagram. Let me see if there's anybody watching from Instagram. I don't know if we got onto Instagram really. I know we are watching. There are people watching on Alternative Views for sure, and there are people YouTube page, and there are people watching on the Marcia Week Show YouTube page, Facebook page. But that's about it. I'm not seeing Instagram attached at all. We were trying to get that done, tonight. Did not work out. But if you could just share if you're watching on Facebook, and you're noticing that the people aren't here, then we're going to depend. We're depending on you to share. We're depending on you to share to let people know that we're actually on. Seeing Caswell is coming on as well, and trying to get his device is on and working. And as soon as I see Honorable Coretta McDonald, as soon as I see her camera on, I'm going to know that she's ready to come on. But you know what we want to do tonight, Reverend? We want to talk about what's happening in Guyana. Okay, we want to talk about what's happening in Guyana. And just pardon me, I see my thing is spinning. Can you hear me, Pastor?
Yes, I'm hearing you good and clear. I'm actually just trying to get the link from your Facebook page to my Facebook page.
Okay. All right.
But we can go ahead. We can go ahead. I can do all that while we're here.
Yeah. All right. So so I want to invite, and I'm still seeing something on my screen that is not supposed to be on my screen. Okay, it's gone now. I mean,
Okay.
just a whole set of technical issues are happening at this time. But we want to hear about Guyana, and we are going to get that happening at this time. Okay, so everything, it's just slowing down. Not sure what's going on. Okay, so I'll wait. It's not allowing me to bring her in, so I'll just wait. Yes, go right ahead. Thank you.
Okay. There she is. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you, Marcia.
Hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, your image has stalled,
I am not
but we're
moving.
hearing you.
I'm not seeing myself.
That's okay. We can hear
Right,
you loud.
I'm stuck. I
Yeah,
realize. Okay. Yes, it's.
Oh yes, my friend there, man.
Yes.
Okay, is the Honorable Coretta McDonald on?
Yes, she is very much so, and so is the Honorable
I can't
General.
hear or see anybody.
Okay.
Okay, so let me leave the studio.
Madam Coretta, we had a fiery show last night, and they seem to have become very upset with Marcia because of it. Oh dear me! But we won't reference it very much because we're using a makeshift alternative YouTube channel from someone else. And
that's what
so so we're going to be very careful to make sure we don't upset them so that they then ban his channel as well. Oh, these people are absolutely ridiculous, really. You don't have the capacity to disagree with them. That just goes to show me that they don't have the ability to have a proper conversation. They lack intelligence.
Now, if we're talking democracy, then democracy lends way for me to disagree with you and for you to disagree with me, and for us to get to a point where we can agree with each other. But it's not for you to dominate and decide I must do this or I must skip or I must run when you decide
That's right.
that I should be running.
Yeah, that sounds like President Z. Is that what President Z from China? XI? I never did pronounce his name correctly. I call him President XI. What is it, Cantwell? What is his real name?
Z.
Z. Okay.
And well, that sounds more like President Kim Jong-un.
Yes, but I like the
Even
XI.
more extreme.
I like the President XI because it sounds more AI. It sounds more technological. Well, Marcia doesn't even seem to be able to get off. Don't know what's happening with her. Let me see if I can help her get off. I'll remove her and then let me see if I can help her. Okay. Yes, so we had those little challenges last night, Madam McDonald, and I hope I have the name right. It's McDonald, right? Not McDowell. Because McDonald, wonderful. And I was intrigued following the meeting in St. Vincent, and there are certain comments I'll keep to myself with regards to that, so that I don't threaten the platform that we're on tonight. but I observed it with interest and with intrigue, and it's going to be interesting to hear what you have to share with us. And I know there are some things that have come out from that meeting. And one of the things that I observed was at least there seemed to be some level of agreement. How binding it is left to be seen. But some level of agreement in terms of maintaining a peaceful, cordial relationship until a decision has been made. And I think that's really important for the region.
Freddie, they invested a lot of time organizing the conference. What this did was to give Maduro a limb to climb back down from. He's a bully out there by himself, and he wanted to come back in, but he couldn't look as though he was just come back and lose face. So he will not blame it on the negotiations that we had in St. Vincent. He knew he was wrong. And so all this like when you have a bully, when you have a bully, and you find a fella met his match, but you can't climb down. You can't climb down by yourself. When you're up there, you're a big bad fella by yourself, you're going to find a way somebody to help you down. And this is what happened at that. That is all that it was. Because the status quo ante remained. Before he started his referendum and all kind of thing, exactly where we were, that's where we are now.
Yes.
So I believe Gonzalez was doing him a favor. Because he told him like Mutt and Jeff, or Jeff and Mutt. So Gonzalez was doing him a favor when he organized this conference and hopefully and try to make it sound more than it was. Guyana owns Essequibo. Essequibo is part of Guyana. Everybody knows that, including Maduro, but he wants to boost his popularity, but not kind of popularity because he's not popular in Venezuela. He never was really. It was Chavez. But he wants to win the next election, so he will rally the troops, And when the troops rally behind him, you say, well, okay, this is the man that claimed more Essequibo. I don't think he wants that one for the Essequibo. He just wants to have the public in Venezuela behind him. They're going to submit a rally behind him, and they're going to say, this is our man. They're going to do the same nonsense in Guyana too. In Guyana, they're going to do the same thing in Guyana. They're going to do it, and they're going to use this. Oh, we saved the Essequibo. That's the next election campaign.
That's the politics. That's the politics.
That's the next election campaign in Guyana.
Yeah.
We saved the Essequibo. They do nothing. Unless people are going to be misled by them, well, God help us. It's just so transparent.
Yes, ma'am. You can go right ahead. We're waiting to hear from you.
Let me say again, good night to you folks, and good night to my Bajan family. I want you to know too that we're here being streamed live on 7 of our pages. So your Guyanese family, they're seeing you too.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and so we're all in the mood for Christmas at this time, and everybody is busy cleaning house and decorating house and pepper pot, getting the pepper pot ready and everything. And of course, this whole summit that we had there in St. Vincent, it was one, in my opinion, for people to be able to spend Christmas the way they want to spend Christmas, to have a good Christmas. Secondly, it was a way of promoting several persons. We have PM Mortley, we have PM Gonzalez, we have President Ali, and President Maduro. So it was a way of promoting all of these folks. And don't forget, all of us are politicians, and we know how to help each other. So with the big hue and cry and so on coming from Maduro and what he's going to do and all these things, and Guyana reaching out for help, and then here comes the good sister and the good brother, and we are going to help you. We want peace in the Caribbean. We want peace in South America. We want peace in Latin America. But in all the peace that we want, of course, we push in some here and we push in some there. We push in a little light here and a little light there, because these elections campaign, they've got to have enough light and enough weight. So while we are here helping Maduro, of course, you're going to see on the next platform in another couple of months or so, we're going to have another champion who went out there and quelled this whole issue of the Essequibo, this controversy with Essequibo between Guyana and Venezuela. So it's a whole wheel and a wheel and another wheel and another wheel. But one of the things that we here in Guyana that we're happy about is that the fear that was established, that was created amongst Guyanese, especially our Guyanese brothers and sisters who are living in the hinterland, they are now a little more comfortable. But for how long, I don't know how long that comfort is going to last for. Because very often we have gentlemen and gentlewomen and gentlemen and gentlemen, or gentlemen and gentlemen signing agreements. And very often we don't live up to those expectations. So it's a matter of timing now to see how long that peace will endure for. The fact that they were able to sit there like mature men and talk about the issues, and they were ready to say, look, I will not continue to be aggressive towards you, and you are not going to be aggressive towards me, and we're not going to be setting our people on the path that they were going. And I need to be very careful I need to make mention of this one, that at no time was Guyana ever aggressive towards Venezuela. We know for a fact that Essequibo belongs to us. So there was no need for us to be aggressive in any way or form. And we have kept that for the last 61 years. Coming out of the Geneva Agreement, we've kept that for the last 61 years. And even before then, when there was the 1899 agreement, that was established there. So friends help friends, and another friend help another friend. And so we're all here tonight, and we can sing a little happy song. But we wait to see how long that peace sign and that peace sign off, how long that will hold for.
Well, of course, we all hope, and pray, because the last thing I think we would want in this region, for that matter, we don't even think we need another one in the world. We have Russia and Ukraine, we have Israel and Hamas. We don't need another. And I think everybody would be hoping and praying that it can be amicably resolved without all of the saber rattling. And the thing is that it's going to, should anything escalate, it's going to bring elements even within our area that are going to be somewhat difficult to contain. And once those things begin to spread around in our area, it becomes a problem. So we hope and pray. We hope and pray that it will remain there, for us. But tell us a little bit about, would you have been aware of the kind of agreements, kind of discussions, what was actually engaged and that type of thing? Would you be aware of that?
Well, what we've heard through the grapevine, because there has not been any official address to the nation by President Ali since his return.
Right.
And so we have learned that there was this, I think it's a 10-point document that was signed, either 10 or 12-point document that was signed. And in that document, they talked about being less aggressive to each other. They're going to continue the talks. I think there is one aspect of which talks about the waiting for the final decision from the ICJ. But most importantly, I think the part which spells out the fact that they're going to keep the peace and not be aggressive towards each other. I think that's most important to all of us in the Caribbean, in Latin America, in South America, and everywhere else. because this kind of aggression would not have only affected us here, but everywhere else it would have had the spills going. And you know very well what could have happened there if we did not have some kind of mediation. But I can say to you, I can safely say to you that while we have those talks there, or we would have had the talks there, our people are still they are still very vigilant, and they're still somewhat itchy about this whole meeting that was arranged there. You see, the thing is, every time they remember what happened in 2020 at the elections, and then you see those very players there, it sends one thinking again. So our people are still somewhat on the edge. While they are a little more comfortable, they're still on the edge, and they are waiting there with their eyes wide open to see the little, if I can say, the little getaways that will come by. And whether somebody did that for their own good, or somebody did that for a trade-off somewhere else. So our people are still vigilant, and they're still somewhat, itchy, like I said, about this whole arrangement. But all in all, we're happy that peace is going to be maintained across the borders between the two countries and its encircling environs.
Lovely. You are absolutely correct. It would have ramifications for the rest of us. I mean, I could see a significant spin-offs, so to speak, that would affect Barbados. We are not that far from you. Trinidad and Tobago is right off your coast. And I think we come back, Caswell, to this. I hesitate to mention it, but to these resources issues, isn't that right? If the resources weren't there, would you think there would be any interest in the Essequibo area?
I doubt very much. But before I go into that or anything else, there was some video going around talking about the RSS. The RSS will be in support of Guyana thing, and they said, "Well, I wonder who." But you remember, Venezuela and Barbados were sisters. You remember that? And I'm saying, when they're going to send the Barbados troops, she's probably going to send some to Venezuela and some to Guyana. Because I just got to laugh, They make the whole thing laughable, We do not need in the Caribbean, or any person for that matter, this type of stupidness, Mr. Saber rattling, because somebody might end up pulling the trigger when something, and then everything can
everything just explodes. Yes.
And for what? To win an election? To get notice? Because look, you remember, I don't know, Chavez had acknowledged that there's no dispute between Guyana. Hugo Chavez, the former president of Venezuela. Maduro succeeded him. And Maduro must have known, because Maduro was a bus driver, Chavez just took him on because he wanted somebody to be vice president, and he wanted, powerful leaders do not like strong deputies, because the deputies might take them out. So Chavez never had any intention for a fellow like Maduro to be anything other than a nominal vice president, never aspiring to be the president. But then Chavez didn't have much of a choice. He brought home the plutonium on his lap, and that killed him. So we have a president who clearly was never intended, but I don't know who's pulling his strings, honestly, because he really don't have the capacity to dance on his own. He's a puppet. But he knows it, and the people who are pulling his string has to get him to say these things. Oh, by the way, I don't know, tell me something. I heard that when a certain person started to talk at this meeting, that he left. I want to know if that was verified, because I'm hearing this from several different sources. During the talks, when everything was settled, a certain person, I'm not going to call anybody's name, started to talk. Maduro got up and left. I know she was. I know at which point she took up her flag and left, but
That's when you say a certain person, and you're not calling any names, but then you identify the gender, and of course we do mean the correct gender. Okay, um, then it's pretty obvious when we look around the table who you mean. But
I don't know who I mean.
but I understand, Madam McDonald, the reservations. I mean, when I listened very carefully to Kimar, yourself and Marcia, when you all were breaking down the 2020 elections,
Yeah.
and now you're observing a meeting being held with the identical players that interfered in that election campaign and results. And it does, we're dealing with a lot of lack of trust among governments, period,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
since the pandemic has started. And it doesn't engender a sense of fullness of security when you observe that from your standpoint. But because, of course, from our standpoint, probably in Barbados and other countries in the Caribbean, we may not be as intimately involved and aware as to what went on in 2020 with those persons injecting themselves into your legitimate elections. So it was really very informative to sit and listen. I had no idea, when Kimar and yourself were sharing with Marcia about that, and to listen to it now and hear the same people sitting now to suggest that they're going to be bringing resolution. And I think it's all politics, Caswell. When he runs in the next general election, he'll be able to say, when someone else runs in the next, they'll be able to say, what are your thoughts?
Like I said in the
Of
beginning,
course,
this is
let me,
just
let me interrupt you and welcome back Marcia, please, because
Yeah.
she disappeared just now. And Marcia, the Honorable is with us, and I would like you, before Caswell gets into what he wants to say, to officially welcome her because you disappeared.
Yes, I was so looking forward to this interview. Good evening, Caswell. I was so looking forward to the interview, and all of a sudden, everything fell apart.
Not
Well, it's
not
so
to
nice
worry.
to.
Not to worry at all. You know what? I have my program that I do live on Wednesdays. I think I told you that.
Yes.
And there are Wednesdays when I get into the studio. We either have a blackout, depending on the topic that I'm talking about. We either have power outage at the beginning of the program, or just in the middle when things are heating up and all the comments are rolling there, power outage. But you know what? We always have our standby generator on. So when they put us off, we're back on in less than 5 minutes. We're on again. So I understand.
You know what's going on. You know what's going on. And I have these two able gentlemen here. I just told them, go ahead, start the interview. And as I was typing to tell them to start the interview, I realized that it started because I was listening off, although I wasn't on. But, I know Caswell was going to say something. I'm going to let him go ahead. And then I have some questions for Madame. Go ahead, Caswell.
Marcia, I am concerned, though, I'm concerned for the people of Guyana. I am concerned simply because the people of Barbados should be concerned of the players, the people, the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines should be concerned also. So if you are not trusted at home, you think you should be trusted elsewhere? No, you got to be upstanding in your own land first before you can go there and set an example elsewhere. And I don't think any of those two. And the bottom along, Carrie Simmons, I didn't check the shoes, Marcia. But the bottom belonged to, they just sure it was a clown show. It was.
I couldn't figure that. I couldn't figure that one out at all. I mean, what are you doing there?
Mind you, I always defend him, though. Mind you, I always defend him. Okay, I always defend him. I sent Marcia a thing that says, don't judge him unless you walk a mile in his shoes. And I sent a picture of the shoes, so you will see.
And the shoes were clown shoes. But, Honorable McDonald, I don't know if this question was asked before, but I'm really curious about what is happening on in Guyana, what is the mood? What is the feeling? Is there relief now that this meeting has occurred? Is it what's happening?
Well, like I said earlier, there is some sign. There are signs of relief amongst our people, especially those who are living in the riverine areas nearing the border. They're somewhat at ease, but the big question is, how long are we going to be having this kind of arrangement for? How long will this arrangement stand? Because I don't think this what was done there. It was done out of since a whole lot of sincerity, and it was done genuinely. I think in my mind, and this is the thinking of quite a lot of people, that what was done there, it was a show that was put on to appease one end and the other end and us in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't forget, in Venezuela, you have elections in 2024. In Guyana, elections are due in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to pump people up. And we must be able to go out there to say, well, we were able to sign off on this agreement. And the prime ministers were there and they helped us. They've always been a friend of both Guyana and Venezuela, and they helped us to settle this issue. We had no more aggression from Venezuela, and we're awaiting the decision of the ICJ. Our people, though, are still vigilant. They're still alert because they don't really trust the whole arrangement that transpired there. I think one of the things that aggravated our people was the fact that Maduro knew that he was going to this meeting. He was saying he's going there to talk about the border controversy, this territorial controversy that we're having. The president of Guyana, Mr. Ali, was saying he will not have any discussions concerning that. They can talk about other things, but he was not going to get engaged in any kind of discussion concerning the territorial controversy, because that matter is with the ICJ. We saw Maduro going out there painted on his aircraft the flag of Venezuela with that part of Essequibo on his plane there. Mm-hmm. We also saw them walking out there, and they had semi-placards with the flag of the map of Venezuela and that part of Essequibo. So right away, our people were saying, this man is very, very presumptuous. You're going into a quote-unquote peace meeting, and this is what you're going in there with. And this is being very pompous. And we want to know, why are you being so pompous? Why you had to come there with an aircraft with that map drawn there? And of course, we saw President Ali going there with a flag of the map of Guyana on his band there, showing Essequibo as a part of Guyana and all of that. But the whole talks, I really did not notice it, but it was brought to my attention. Look at the table. Look and see where PM Mortley was sitting. And all of these observations are
so let's pause there, because that is interesting, because we saw the table and there are some things that we saw on the table which we are going to discuss this table, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to good night Kimar is on, and I know he's working behind the scenes to make sure we're up tonight, because we don't give up. Listen,
does he have a picture of the table?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see if we can get a picture of the table. I know Kimar, if he can get a picture, he'd put it up. But we were working. We were wanting to do the show so badly. You should see us half hour before Kimar and I trying to get this thing up and going. This table, this famous table. So you saw something that I don't know if we saw. You are saying that you noticed where people were sitting at the table. So can you elaborate on that for me? What are Guyanese saying?
Well, this is what was brought to our attention because, I mean, I watched the proceedings and I was really interested in the talks that were going to come out. I wasn't really interested in where persons were sitting, but then it was drawn to my attention. Look where people sit in. If you're mediators, then there should be a particular place for you to sit. And you know, the two sides should be sitting there facing each other. But why are you on one side facing another side when you should be either at the head of the table? And that, again, brought some concerns and reservations to our people. And so while they appreciate the fact that we are not going to be, there's no more aggression that is going to be coming from Venezuela, persons are still saying, hey, two individuals around that table were part of our 2020 fiasco. Two of those persons. And so we've got to take what is coming out there, like Guyanese would say, with a pinch of salt.
So, and those two individuals, because, you know, I'm not going to pretend, the two individuals that were there, that was Ralph Gonzalez and Mia Martley. And they were present. In fact, what we noted, was there another flag on that table? Because we saw
only the Barbados flag.
Was there another flag
only the Barbados flag.
Well, I'm seeing. I'm going to try to get an image on the screen, but I'm seeing a couple of others though. But I will try to get it.
Okay. So if I'm not sure
around the room, but not on the table.
On the table. So what we saw the Barbados flag on the table. And so you're saying that Guyanese are generally they're happy about what has happened, but they're a little uneasy about it because they're not so sure. Because there are two individuals there that were present at their there are two other flags that are there. That seems to be, is that St. Lucia?
St. Lucia?
Yes.
No, that's not St. Lucia. We're seeing Barbados, and I'm not sure the other flag. Whose flag is that?
Would that red one be possibly Trinidad?
Might be. But you know, the thing is, the flags that are represented there, you had nothing to do with this controversy. So I would have expected to see a Guyana flag and a flag of Venezuela.
Yes,
as against
absolutely.
seeing those two flags that we were seeing there. And like I said earlier, you know, persons were concerned about where PM Martley was sitting. Very, very concerned about
you know, I didn't notice that before. Did you see that?
I talked about that. I said that I'm a conciliator, remember? And when you have, I'm a trade unionist, and we have conciliation meetings all the time. And you have the chair, and you have people on opposing sides. It is clear that Martley is on Maduro's side, from where she's sitting. But look, one other thing. Look at where everybody else is looking. My girl looking into the camera, man. She just want to get noticed. Look at everybody else's face. You know, she can't help herself. Look at it. Trust me.
So hold a minute.
She's staring right into the camera.
So are you saying, who is this gentleman here beside on the right? It's on the left of Gonzalez in the glasses right here.
That's Dominica.
That's Carrot. That's Carrot on the right.
Carrot is on the right.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on the right of Prime Minister Gonzalez.
Okay, so who is? Okay, and so so Maduro was on the left. I'm making sure we're doing this depending on where we're perspective. So the Venezuelan president, I'm seeing that he's on the left of
Gonzalez.
On Gonzalez, correct. Okay. So who is that gentleman on the left? There's a black gentleman there with glasses.
I'm
going to see if I can get a better image of it.
That's interesting, though. That she's sitting. She's basically is she almost sitting beside him?
Yes, as if she's part of his delegation.
Wow.
Well, she is from where she's seated.
I didn't notice anybody. Oh, there's I didn't notice. Anybody notice that before? Anybody who's watching? Guys, if you're watching, remember, I'm going to ask you please to keep sharing the YouTube link, because we are a fraction of who normally would watch, but we're hoping that this will go. We will keep pushing this after, and get this out there. Honorable Coretta McDonald, I sent you the link. I see some people from Guyana saying they can't find the link, so I sent it to you. The correct link I sent to you in your WhatsApp, so you can take a moment. And I see people from Guyana; they seem a little frustrated and trying to get on to see. So if you can just send that out, please. Yes. Interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Kimar, you're there?
Philip, you're here?
Let me see if Kimar is there. Okay. Oh, Kimar, okay, dropped out. Okay, he's coming right back in. Guys, please share this up. So, and I can understand why they would feel that way, Honorable McDonald, because I was worried for Guyana, and I'm saying I'm really hoping that we don't have something terrible coming out of this, on the part of Guyana, that you don't end up holding the wrong end of the stick. Now, let me ask you a question. The thinking is this, that there's some within the Guyanese community who felt that, we should not be setting up these meetings with Maduro, because we are waiting. This is in the court of law. What is the purpose of the meetings? You understand? The thinking is that this is in the court of law. Why are we setting up meetings with Maduro? What is the purpose of it if we're waiting on a court ruling?
But you know what? That very question was asked. We asked that question when we were sitting in the National Assembly, because we know that as opposition, when we ask questions concerning matters that are engaging the courts, our speaker would say to us, I can't entertain that question because this matter is in the courts. So we found it very, very strange. As a matter of fact, some Guyanese were saying their comments to the president was, if you go there and talk foolishness, you're on your own. You're not coming back to Guyana. We don't want you to go to St. Vincent to talk. What are you going to talk about? As a matter of fact, I sent a letter to President Ali on Facebook, and I said to him, I don't understand the reason for you traveling to St. Vincent. And it's not too late for you to call and say, hey, I've decided to change my mind. I'm not coming to that meeting. And like I was saying earlier, in Guyana, we were confused because we were hearing from President Ali, who was saying, I will not be speaking on that issue. I will not speak to that issue. Anything else I will talk around, not that issue. And then we saw coming from Maduro, he said, I have a commitment to the people of Venezuela, and I will be going there to defend what is rightfully ours. And then we saw a letter from him. And then we saw another, and persons were saying, what is really going on? We don't understand this. Who's telling the truth and who's telling untruth? President Ali said to us exactly what this meeting is about. Do you have an agenda for this meeting? We would like you to publish that. Publish the agenda. If you're going to a meeting, then you must know as heads of government what you're going there to discuss. Let's see an agenda. But we did not see an agenda, but the president went to that meeting. And, well, we know what came out of that meeting. But like I said earlier, that meeting was about a wheel in another wheel, in another wheel, and we helping each other, because we got an elections in 2024 that we want to win, and we have another elections coming up in 2025 that we want to win, and we on the outside, as mediators, we want to stay in good company with both sides, and so we are going to go there, and we are going to go and bob and weave, and we're going to say, well, we want this to happen and that to happen and whatever to happen. But the fact is now that that agreement was signed, and we wait to see how long the peace will continue to reign. There will be no more aggression, and we await the decision of the ICJ, and then what comes after the decision that is going to be made by the ICJ.
There's an old saying, you don't tease a fool, you please him. All right? So that is why our friend Ali went to Vincent. He had to go. You had a fool to deal with. Now, if you stand up and act foolish like him too, he can invade. So play along with him. So that could be the rationale for Irfan Ali going, because the military in Venezuela is half the population of Guyana. Venezuela has a very big army. You can't win. If they invade, you can't win.
You can't.
So you have to go in there and help Maduro to climb down. It was in Guyana's best interest to go and make sure that Maduro is allowed to come down gently, because if this didn't happen, he'll be the laughing stock of Venezuela, and people would not vote for him. So they help each other out, as the Honorable Coretta McDonald said. They were helping out each other.
You know what I found? Sorry. You know what I found?
Gonzalez helping out himself in next election. May want to go to United Nations, so she will show that she had experience in international affairs.
In peace talks.
In peace talks. It is a bunch of foolishness. But
political optics.
It serves its purpose. If your purpose is to cut short, it did exactly that, because nothing real happened in that thing. First of all, look, even with a trade union dispute, when they two an employer and an employee, we don't take no one. They think the sort of they take meetings over meetings and stuff, and you get this thing sorted out. It was 1 or 2 days. Something as serious as that, you had a little 2-day thing and bam, And I think most of the time was at lunch or whatever. They had a lot of stuff. There was nothing substantive or substantial going on in there. It was just somebody got here. I call it optics. Well, the Americans that call them optics, and they will go along with optics too. But that's what it was all about. Sure, to give people the impression that we are doing something and we are it. We're the people that you got to come and support, because look, we just solved this thing. The thing was solved before they sat at that table.
What I found strange is that the opposition in Venezuela, the opposition leader, that young lady there, she was so up and about with this whole thing, and she said she doesn't know why Maduro is making himself what he is not. He has lost popularity in Venezuela, and so he's doing all of these things to regain some popularity. And she said the entire world knows when they had that referendum, the percentage that they got, the percentage of people who voted and participated in that referendum, and it was nothing to smile about. But of course, he has to go out there and paint this picture as though he had the entire population of Venezuela supporting him, of the people, and so he's got to spurt a whole lot of things out there and hype them up so that he can get some support and have their votes at the elections next year. But like the viewer there said, it was all about optics and persons helping each other's, partners helping each other's. Don't forget, sister and maybe Barbados is a brother. So Venezuela has always been a good sister to Barbados. So brother and sister helping each other. And Guyana's a little sister. So they're going to help the little sister because, like I said, in 2025, there's an elections in Guyana. So we helping each other.
Wow. It's amazing. And can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yeah, we're hearing you good and loud and clear.
Okay, right. They had all kinds of things tonight. This wasn't working, wasn't a charge. Sorry about that. But we don't give up. somebody here is asking a question, and I'm trying to figure it out. They said the opposition supports the same move to claim the lands from Guyana. So why was the Venezuelan opposition not at the meeting too? But I guess someone could ask the Guyana opposition.
The same reason with Guyana opposition was not there. They would have brought the goods. They would let people know what's really happening. So you can't have them there. Let me just show you. They have meetings in Barbados with the Prime Minister and the unions that represent certain people. I'm not invited because I get see what happened. Okay, so this is what the opposition would do. They say what happened. So they don't invite me. So this is a mere tactic. All right.
That's why
she knows that if the opposition came, she learned from Barbados. She knows what's going to happen because many times I hear, oh, they have meetings. Caswell, but you're right. I said the boy invite me. So this is the same thing that's happening here. She that was her contribution to the meeting.
I think of these things in terms of government and opposition, as if government thinks that it represents, and I mean, I guess officially it represents all of the people because we've been elected to government. We get that. But by the same token, when you have a meeting of this nature, where you have the opposition representing a certain percentage of the country and the ruling party representing another percentage of the country, while government, we know government, you elected the people to government, if that's what happened, we'll just leave that. You elected the people to government and they're supposed to be there. But I think on matters of this nature, the leader of the opposition should have been in that meeting, because you don't know what's going to happen. What is the next election, Madam McDonald? When is the next election? 2020 what?
2025.
2025. So you don't know what's going to happen in 2025. Mr. Ali may be voted out. Mr. Jagdio may be voted out, and then the leader of the opposition becomes the president of Guyana. And subsequently, in my view, that's just my take on the matter, should be sitting at that table now. It just goes to show that we're dealing with a whole set of political optics, because sorry,
Freddie,
am I being idealistic? Am I being idealistic?
No, you got it wrong. The Guyana has proportional representation.
Yeah.
Right? But the people who were declared having the most votes didn't get them, because a lot of the people who voted for them had already died years ago. You see, and that is what Mayor and that's what happened. That's what Mayor and Gonzalez and everyone there to do, to legitimize those dead people voting. You could chat with Honorable Coretta McDonald. You will see that a lot of dead people voted in Guyana.
Well, let me tell you what. I was there at the recount. I sat in booth 2, and I was there for 33 days during COVID. And every time the boxes came to you, you had boxes there with even a blind voting.
Is she breaking up, or is just me?
Names were ready.
Yeah, we're getting some connection issues because her image hasn't moved as yet either.
Right. And I think Caswell was also breaking up a bit. Caswell's image is a little stuck.
Are you hearing me now?
We're hearing you, but you might have to come out, leave, and just come right back in.
Because the image is frozen. Your image is frozen.
Yes, I recognize that, and I was trying to get that fixed. So I'll do just that. I'll leave, and then I'll come right back in.
Yes. So we can complete what. But isn't that interesting? Caswell and Dr. Ferdinand, how the people are just they have not forgotten what happened at that election, and so they are that is causing them to not trust the process. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
No, but you can put it one thing. PPP has such loyal support that even in death they come back and vote. That's one way of looking at it.
So I don't know. I don't know where Caswell comes up with these things from.
You know,
I tell you,
but that's what happened. A lot of the people, some of them were outside, some of them were in Barbados. One guy met me at the market in the cheap side to tell me that he voted, but he was nowhere near Guyana. He didn't go back home. He was in Barbados for all these years, and he voted. He told that's the guy who sells vegetables, and I buy quite my vegetables and things from the people in the market, you know, because I get them fresh. And we got some Guyanese vendors and stuff who grow their own stuff, so I get them really fresh. I don't get them stuff, so I go there. They talk with me. They recognize me. They know me, and we talk. And he told me he discovered that he voted in that election, but he did not leave Barbados. He never went down. So but his vote was counted, and 9 chances out of 10, it was counted for the PPP Civic. He did not leave Barbados, but he voted in the Guyana election. So I could go and pick him up.
But do they have those absentee ballots? Can you?
No, there's not absentee ballot. He said that he discovered that he voted in the election, and that he was in Barbados all the time.
I just got it. I thought it was a case, you know, in the US where you can vote and you're don't have
mail-in ballots.
So let me ask you. So he only discovered that he voted.
Yeah, he discovered that he voted. He discovered that he was present in Guyana and voted, but he never left Barbados. For all these years he was in Barbados, and he didn't go back home to vote. So I know that they didn't have any majority of votes. So that was done for already. So when you're saying that they got the majority of votes, no, they might get them.
So let me say to you.
Go ahead.
Let me say to you that coming out of that recount is where we recognized exactly what we've been saying all along about the PPP and the manner with which they rig elections. And in that recount, we saw many persons who are dead. They voted at elections. And when we were able to confront them on that, because we had the deaths, we went to the births and deaths registration office, and you got the death certificates there, which show that this person is dead, but look, this person is accounted for and they voted. We got the registry from the immigration officer, from the immigration office, which showed a number of people who never came into the country during that period, but they were registered there as voting. We saw there persons voting at one polling station and then going to another polling station using another name and voting there as well. So this is not any storytelling. This is what actually happened, because I sat there. As a matter of fact, we persons voted without any form of identification, or your ID card or a passport. Persons voted. We saw persons who were deemed to have been blind putting ticks rather than having a thumbprint. So what you're hearing about the recount, it's true. It's not anything that anybody made up. As a matter of fact, there was one point when the chairman of the Elections Commission said, look, all of those ballots that could not have matched their statutory documents, we are going to put those aside. They're not going to be counted. The following day, that decision was reversed, and we were told that those ballots are now going to be counted. They are valid. And that sparked a whole lot of confusion around this country, because we were going all the time with valid votes. We saw ballot containers coming out with ballots, and you could not find the stubs, but you had ballots there. You had voters list, and you had a list with 20 persons on the list, but you had 46 ballots in the ballot box. And so you were asking what was happening here? Where are these persons coming from? How these persons are there? To boil all of this down, the accord that was signed on there, the agreement there, this recount process had 5 steps. 3 were looked at. and they abandoned the other two processes. So the whole elections was done there, and all those goodwill people who came to intervene, they intervened there for their own goodwill and to benefit themselves. They did not intervene there to benefit the Guyanese people. And so for that reason, when Guyanese people see certain individuals, they're always going to be upbeat, they're always going to be skeptical, and there is going to be always that level of distrust.
Well, you know, Honorable McDonald, I'm going to get Kimar to come in here now, but you know, I'm here thinking, you know, to people that I wish Barbadians were the same, that when they saw certain individuals, all the things that have happened, no, that it's alleged that one person did that one thing to Guyana, and look how Guyana, whenever Guyana see them, Guyana is like, not, you know, they raise the cross, and we can list the number of atrocities, you know, all the things that have been, we know that have gone on here wrong in Barbados, and some people's eyes are still not open as yet. And so I can definitely understand why the Guyanese would be a little skeptical about anything that they're associated with. Kimar, I know we've been having a getting into tonight. Any thoughts tonight?
All right, you can hear me well?
We're hearing that noise again.
You can hear me well now?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Good and clear.
Yeah, well, good night to everyone.
Nice.
Thanks for having me. It's McDonald. Good to be on with you again. Since we last been here, a lot has happened, man. You know, we had an entire poppy show going on in Vincent, and you know, we have even had Jamaica not showing up to the meeting, and a lot is going on. But I'm glad that some progress was made in terms of not using force on Guyanese people. So at least we know that life, at least if it's temporary, life is safe, and that's what matters most. So I am happy. I think I can stretch a big one here and say that I think that it was this show, the advocacy from this show, really helped to push back on whatever they were planning, you know, and they had to tread very, very, very cautious this time because they know we were watching. They know that we spoke about them. We know that we said that they went and they interfered in Guyana. They know we spoke about the elections. We identified all of the culprits. And as Pastor Ferdinand said, the same ones who interfered in the election were the same ones who were back here again. But they couldn't do what they did the last time because they knew that we were on them. So I just wanted to say a thank you to you all for joining in the fight. I'm sure Guyana is much better off for that type of advocacy. However, it's quite unfortunate that our leaders don't have the balls to do what we did in terms of taking an open position on what needed to happen. So maybe that could be the next step after they realize that it's not about the oil, it's not about the resources, but it's actually about the Guyanese people. And 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 it's time that these Caribbean leaders step from behind taking kickbacks and taking bribes from these big companies and all of these bonuses and royalties that they want to benefit from. It's time to look past that now, you know, and really do what you were elected to do by the people. Because it was not Exxon that put Jack Dale in power. It was not Exxon that put Ali in power. But it wasn't even the people because they were not even voted for it. So I can't say that the people vote them. But at the end of the day, they are the government legitimate or not. So they have to govern for the people and not govern for Exxon or not. And they can stretch on this one or not govern for Maduro, right? Uh, they have to make the best interest for the Guyanese people. It's quite unfortunate some of the statements that were made at the level of CARICOM. I'm quite surprised that Barbados didn't take a more frontal role in it in terms of the taking over the show and trying to hog it. But there's reasons for that. And again, I want to thank the show for pointing out that Barbados was the ringleader in that entire debacle in terms of interfering in the Guyanese election. So they wouldn't want to go there and do anything wrong. Then for them to have to come back here tonight to hear us roast them, They don't like us when we roast them,
Correct.
They don't like it. So we put some fathers and mothers corrections on them, and they straighten out the act. So I mean, I just want to encourage you all, especially Miss McDonald, keep up the fight.
Thank you.
Eventually everything will come to a head. Marcia, don't mind it took us down last night, but we're back up again.
Yeah, we're back up on your channel, and we're asking people, those who are watching, and let me say good night. We have 115. This is like probably a third of who we normally have. We said last night we had up to 460 something people on watching live. And so we have 115 tonight. Everybody, we have to share. We have to fight back. We're not going to sit down, We have to keep fighting, keep sharing the link. And I don't know if Mr. Franklin even has the link yet. Do you have the link, Mr. Franklin? It's been passing around?
Yeah, I've been sending it to people.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, so everybody, if we all do it, then we'll get our people here. People they want to be on. They want to be on. But I want to ask Miss Honorable McDonald something, because I'm very Guyana. This issue with Guyana and the what's happening to Black Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, right? In Guyana is a real concern to me. Because the first time I was called a racist name was when I did a show talking about what was happening in Guyana to Afro-Guyanese, and my Indian friends came on here and called me some serious derogatory terms, and all I was doing was asking questions, which was quite interesting. And I said to someone, I can just imagine what it feels like living in Guyana, and with all of what's going on. But what I want to ask though, has CARICOM put forward any kind of policy or suggestions or ideas or any concern, or raise any concern about what Afro-Guyanese are, have been saying to the world? They've been screaming out on Facebook about this. They're screaming out on social media. Some of them have lost contracts. They can't get work. They feel that they're victimized. What is CARICOM saying? Because they could take up and do an entire meeting on this issue with the oil. Am I comparing apples and oranges here? What are your thoughts, Ms. Honorable McDonald, on this?
Well, let me say to you that, again, Afro-Guyanese, the majority of Afro-Guyanese who are within the public sector, who are public servants, they've been dealt another serious blow again with a 6.5 salaries increase. And that is across the board. The government, they have again refused to engage the Guyana Teachers Union, the Guyana Public Service Union, and all the other unions. They've refused to engage those unions. And within those unions, the majority of its members are Afro-Guyanese. So again, another blow. And I want to equate this blow with the blow that Afro-Guyanese meted out to them at the local government elections. Since Afro-Guyanese did not vote for them at the local government elections, they've decided, well, oh, you didn't vote for us? Take that. And so in this new Dubai of the Caribbean, as we are now being dubbed, we've moved from 8% last year to 6.5% this year. And from our calculations and some of what we've been getting, inflation rate is 6.1%. And so we're getting 6.5% salary increase. And that's not all. When you look at what has been happening in Afro-Guyanese villages, there's a distinct line when you cross Indo-Guyanese villages. You see the difference in terms of development and everything else in those villages. But my worry is, again, why is CARICOM so silent on all of this? As a matter of fact, there was a big cry in Guyana a couple of months ago when our brothers and sisters from Haiti were deported from Guyana, when they were jailed in Guyana, when they were rounded up and disposed, well, not disposed of, they were deported. And then there was this new arrangement being put in place that Haitians now have to get a visa to come to Guyana.
Yes.
And still coming out of the agreement in CARICOM, which talks about free trade and free movement, CARICOM is still absolutely silent on this issue. And so one wonders whether, again, you're hearing, well, we don't want to get involved in territories, internal arrangements, and so on. Then what's the use of us having CARICOM? Many persons are saying, Guyana, it's time to get out of CARICOM. Let's move from CARICOM because CARICOM isn't doing anything for us. And so I want to use this forum to call on our leaders, to call on the chairperson of CARICOM to speak out against some of what is happening in Guyana. We cannot continue to have this government marginalizing and discriminating against people who, in most instances, or in many, many instances, or in all the instances, persons who are not, if you're not a PPP, then you're out. And most times, if you're Afro-Guyanese, then you get licks like peas. You don't fall into anything. If you look at what is happening in this country, and I don't have it here. If I had, I would have shared on on the screen. But in Guyana, we see contracts being awarded. Contracts were even being awarded before the procurement commission came into being. It was not there. And contracts were being issued. We have seen contracts being issued to one particular person. Same name, 5 contracts. You have the tender board putting out their advertisement there and all these contracts that they're offering. And you're seeing just a particular group of persons getting these contracts. And other persons who are applying, they can't get these contracts. We saw just after the local government elections, there were some persons who were employed doing cleaning gutters, having road projects and other projects. And after the local government elections and the results were read, you know what some of those persons were told, or most of those persons were told? Well, the contract came to an end. The contract came to an end. And so that was it for lots and lots of Black people. And this has nothing to do with anybody here being racial. This is what is happening. You go to certain banks in Guyana, commercial banks, and if you see 5 Afro-Guyanese in those banks, you see quite a lot. And there's nobody saying anything about it. Nobody's saying anything about it. You go to some other places and you don't see any Afro-Guyanese there. Afro-Guyanese you have contractors who are Afro-Guyanese. And you know what was done to some of them because they're not PPP? If they slipped up with a contract, the contract was taken away from them and they were blacklisted. But we've seen other persons who they've not met the deadline for their completion of their contracts, but those deadlines have been extended and extended and extended. And there's so many road projects. And we have we have 2 ministers of public works, and they just can't do anything about it because it is way past their pay grade. But Afro-Guyanese in this country are always kept on the breadline so that you always have to run to the PPP. You always have to run to them. And so they throw a little crumb and you run there, you pick that up, and they keep that dangling across over your head. But again, CARICOM says nothing about all these atrocities. We've seen numerous Black young men being killed. Nobody's saying anything about it. We had a couple recently where two cousins, two young boys, one 16, I think, either 16 and 18 or 17 and 18 years old or 20, being killed in the most brutal form. Up to today, nothing. You don't hear anything else about that case. And you know what? Both mothers are dead now and they died from grief.
Wow.
We have seen a young man being shot in his bed. All he had on was his brief. He was sleeping. He was shot and killed in his bed. You don't hear anything about it. Of course, they put on a big drama and they pulled the police rank before the court, and he was charged, and that's the end of it. We saw another young man, 24 years or 23 years old, Bacchus, shot and killed by a policeman. There were several policemen there, but one particular policeman killed him, shot him cold-bloodedly and killed him. And when you got to the bottom of the story, you heard, oh, of course, the police have to put up their story that the young man is involved in illegal activities and he was selling guns, and some police decided to call him up and they made some arrangement to buy a gun from him, and some other policeman was hiding in a car trunk and some foolishness, and the young man pulled the gun and that's how they shot him. But when you got down to the bottom of the story, you heard, oh, it was some young lady that they had a feud. These two men had a little feud with this young lady, and this particular young man said to the particular policeman said to this young man that he's going to quote unquote, he's going to done his dance, you know? And that young man was killed. And you know what? The young man was killed when he was running away from them. He was shot several times. So I don't understand how a young man is armed and he's firing shots at you, but he's running away from you. And so the footage there showed, the CCTV cameras showed the young man running away and the police running behind him and shooting this young man. To date, we are still waiting to see those, the police, well, they held several of them. And so we are still waiting for them to have their day in court. But you know what? Many, many families have been broken. And so all of these things are happening to people in Guyana. Just recently, we saw one of our news reporter, Travis Chase. His car was burnt. One of his cars was burnt last year, I think it was. Mysteriously, nobody knew who lit this car afire, but his car was burnt. And then just last week, he parked his car, I think, in front of his grandmother's house. And the next thing, they heard gunshots. And when people started looking out, a young man on a motorcycle passed and opened fire on his car. Luckily for him, he was not in the car. He went, the police came and they took the reports and so on. And they said to the boy, a couple of days after, they called him and they asked him to report to the station. They want him to come and identify. They have two suspects there and he should come to see if he can identify them. The young man said, I cannot identify anybody. I did not see anybody, so I can't identify anybody. Subsequently, he received another call inviting him to the station because they want him to bring his firearm because they want to do ballistic testing. They took away that young man's, he went with his attorney and he was wondering, why do you want to have my firearm? But this is the young man who is always out there advocating for rights. He's exposing other things. He's exposing.
So he has a license. It's a licensed firearm.
Firearm he's having. They have disarmed him so that persons can arm him. That is what they have done to him.
Wow.
So that's the situation that we have here in Guyana. So when they go out there to talk about one Guyana and president for all the people, that's not true. Today we had the mayor from Linden and his councillors protesting in front of the local government ministries because you know what they tried to do? They tried to impose a town clerk in that town. So It is not. It is not anything that they're talking about. Oh, one Guyana and peace. What Prime Minister Mortley and Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez should do, they should come here, and we can put them at the square of the revolution under a massive tent, and let them listen to the concerns of the people in this country, and let's see what they will do. That's what I want them to do. Come to Guyana, sit under those tents and listen to the cries of the people of Guyana, and let me see what recommendations they're going to put in place, and what documents they'll want to be signed, so that Black people in Guyana can have a life just like any other person.
Wow.
I'll tell you something though. If you invite her to Guyana, you will only be telling her what she already knows. She does not care.
Wow.
She doesn't care about Barbados. You think she care about you?
As a matter of fact, let me say to you, like I'm seeing here in the comments section, we have a commission called Ethnic Relations Commission. And this is the commission that would deal with racially incited statements and so on made by persons. And, you know, during that entire elections debacle that we had Indians, East Indians on Facebook putting up there that they can poison out all the Black people in Guyana. You had they're not reporters, but they claim to be reporters, calling Black people hungry belly dogs and all kind of things in Guyana. And
can I tell you that they were calling me those names? I was telling Dave, I don't even know these people. Look at what they're calling me, you know, a monkey and all kinds of things. And I'm saying, you know, but you know, Dr. Ferdinand, I'm saying, if CARICOM, before I ask, let me ask, McDonald, have you presented any of these concerns to CARICOM? Have these concerns been presented to CARICOM?
Well, if you ask me to present again, I'll do.
Okay, so it has been, the concerns have been presented. I am saying that this kind of, because I'm hearing it not just from Honorable Coretta McDonald, but I get it on my phone. People message me and they tell me what they're going through there. A lot of business people are marginalized. Black business people are marginalized in Guyana. And I'm saying, why? It's a shame that we are continuing we are Black people too, and we are going on as though there's nothing wrong in Guyana, Doctor.
But Marcia, then what is the purpose of CARICOM? What is the purpose of all of our countries coming together? From a political standpoint, economic standpoint, at least this is what I was told was supposed to be the case. And in which event it would mean that when things arise in different territories, the heads would meet and see how look at what we're doing with Haiti. Haiti is not even, and I stand to be corrected, I'm sure Caswell will correct me on this, but I don't think Haiti is a member of CARICOM. Am I correct? They're an associate. They are a member. They are a member state, right? Yes. Okay. But that was recent by virtue. When you compare to the rest of the CARICOM region, that was a recent addition. Look at the voices being raised with regards to Haiti, which is only now joined, compared to what we are here. Because what I'm hearing, I must say, Honorable Coretta, that I'm hearing a level of racism here in Guyana that I myself was not that familiar with. I knew there was some degree of it, but I didn't realize it was as predominant and blatant as what you are sharing. And I doubt, to be honest with you, I doubt that many people actually really know this, because it hasn't seemingly been shared in our different territories and so on. I mean, I stand to be corrected there because I'm not in the know as to all of that. But certainly, with respect to our CARICOM grouping, there is that type of situation going on in any one of our territories. Should we not come to the table and try to resolve that?
Well, you know, it's the very question we're asking, the same question. all of these issues that we're having here in Guyana, in Trinidad, we have some of it happening there. Why can't our CARICOM leaders sit? And mind you, CARICOM's headquarters is in Guyana. When we're having lots and lots of the protests, they too sometimes are prevented from going to work, because many times when we have sitting of the National Assembly and the persons are protesting, they would protest at that site where the National Assembly is being held. And CARICOM's headquarters is right next door. And so they know everything that is happening. They see all that is happening. They see the walks down the street. They see people bearing placards. And so are we saying that they're dumb, they're deaf? What?
See no evil.
I'll say something that now helps me to understand. Several months ago, I was approached by someone to obtain aggregate for Guyana. Okay, one of my associates in the organization that I'm a part of, to acquire aggregate, and I reached out to a couple of people in the United States who I know very well out of my Cayman connections, and we had everything set. Then next thing I heard was that the whole thing seemed to have fallen through. And I'm beginning to wonder if that was not a part of it, because I believe that the person who would have been looking to obtain the aggregate was not of the Indian race. And it's a substantial amount of aggregate that was, we're talking about barges. We're talking about barges of aggregate that I was approached in terms of organizing that and making the connections. And I've tried through one or two persons in Guyana. Of course, both of those persons are of Negro descent. And I think I'm now beginning to understand why that has not proceeded any further, because this aspect is something that really it's sad to hear what you're saying. You're talking about people's livelihoods here. You're talking about the future of their children. You're talking about them putting food on their table. You're actually talking about social stability. That's really what you're talking about. And if persons are unable to engage those processes to make a living, what are they going to be left to do?
Exactly. And let me say to you, it's not only the Afro-Guyanese who suffer like this. If you're Indo-Guyanese and you are part of the coalition, they watch you with scorn. They call you all kinds of names. We had, leading up to the elections, we had an East Indian family. Their butcher shop was burnt to ashes because they are part of the coalition. Recently, we had the Vice President Barajagio calling one of my colleague MP a lowlife. This is what he was calling one of my female colleague, a lowlife. We had.
You mean the Vice President is calling this Black woman who is an MP a lowlife, and she's a member of Parliament.
She's a member of Parliament. As a matter of fact, sometime last year, I think it was during budget presentation last year or early this year during budget presentation, Nigel Dharamlal, who was the Minister of Local Government, he told one of our MP that you need a dildo. That's what he said in the National Assembly. It was heard all across this country and even further for persons who listen to our budget debate. So these people are not easy people. As long as you're not with them, they find the most harsh words to tell you.
Yeah.
They find all kinds of names to call you. And one of the things about the PPP is that they don't have respect for women. That's one. Two, they have no respect for Black people unless they can use you. And that has been the PPP all the time. Simple, let me give you another example. During the coalition's term in office, President Granger then celebrated his birthday. And he said, look, I don't want gifts. I don't want personal gifts. This is what I want. Anybody who wants to give me a gift, this is what I want you to do. In Guyana, we have children who have to go to school, but some of them, their parents can't afford. So if you can donate some buses I'll be happy. We'll have those buses distributed to the various regions so that children can ride on those buses free of cost to get to school. If you can donate bicycles, I will welcome that. If you can donate books and bags and boots, which we call sneakers, we will welcome that. Computers and so on, yes, I would welcome that. So we had several buses across this country, several boats for our folks who are living in the hinterland and they have to use the river to get to and from school or to get to work, to and from work, or to get to their farm and so on. We had several boats that were donated to some of these regions. You know, in 2020, after August 2nd, you know what they did? They burnt some of those buses. Some others, they just have them parked in place on the street corner or in some compound, and those buses are not being used. Some of the boats, they repainted them, they took out the engines, and they're using the boats to do other things. And that's how wicked the PPP are. That's how wicked they are. Other buses, they took off the name David Granger off of the buses, and they just left Region 5 or Region 4 or whatever region it is. They left those. But some of the buses were sabotaged. Rather than throwing gasoline in a diesel bus, rather than throwing diesel in a diesel bus, they threw gasoline in there. Rather than putting in the engine oil, they threw something else in there and damaged many, many of those buses. And so if that is not wickedness, then you tell me what is.
Wow. You know, we just have a few minutes in this segment, and I'm not sure. Is it Casual was speaking? I don't know if Kimar, you have anything to say in this section before, because we do have some local things in Barbados that we want to, but there's something that is bothering me here, because I'm seeing, before Casual, I just want to say this very quickly. I'm seeing, gentlemen and ladies, I'm seeing that Barbados is seeming to want to go in this direction, because anybody who speaks out against this government here, we are victimized, you know, and in so many different ways. And so I could see why they can't say anything about Guyana. They have no moral standing to say anything about Guyana. But go ahead, Caswell. Caswell?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention, you know, like, you know, Ralph Thorne and Hal Gollop went to Guyana for Granger. Remember? They represented Granger before the court, or represented the government then, or his party. And the gentleman who is now the Attorney General, Nan Lal, I think his name is, he referred to Ralph Thorne and Hal Gollop, two outstanding lawyers from Barbados, in court as two aliens from across the sea, because they were not saying what they wanted to hear. They were doing their job. They were only doing their job, but they were two aliens from across the sea. They were not brothers anymore. Plus, they were both black. You see, so I don't understand how. Well, Gonzalez himself is racist too. But Mia, I don't know how she could be a racist for against black people. She has more support for other ethnic groups than for black people. Even here in Barbados, she makes sure that those people get the tax breaks. She makes sure they get the contracts too. So we are seeing the same thing. Like, you could just scratch off Guyana and put Barbados, and you got, because of what May is doing here. So don't be surprised that she's in support and full support of the PPP, because they are the people she likes to associate with. I don't know if she has some sort of inferiority complex and she feels that she shouldn't have been black or something, but she don't treat black people. Even here, she just used them, just like how the PPP used black people in Guyana sometimes they make a few token blocks and give them a little something, and they feel good about it. Should we have the same thing here?
Yeah. You know, somebody here saying she's a moneyist and not racist. I think even looking at where you see her sit there in that meeting on which side, this lady, she sees green. The only color she sees is green. And I think that is really what is her thing. It's this whole love of money, you know, and so on. But you know, I remember that when the BLP was in opposition, someone very, very close to the party said to me that one of the things that Owen Arthur was concerned about was what you know what was said to him, that you know what he needs in Barbados is like the politics that is in Jamaica. You know what that was in Jamaica in the 70s and the 80s, where one people from one party was, you know, killing people from another party, and like what's happening in Guyana, where they seem like, you know, the party in power want to starve out the other people who are not in power and to make their lives miserable. And that was the kind of politics that it was alleged that this particular person was pushing. And Owen Arthur did not want anything to do with it. And you know, this former MP of the BLP, they said to me, that is why you see, you know, Owen Arthur was trying so hard to shield Barbados from this person, to shield. And we were, some of us, like myself, at that time, I didn't understand. And I was saying, you know, you know, guys, I was saying, why don't they just let her be and let her, give her a chance, give women a chance, and all of these things. Only to realize that what was happening is that you know, Owen Arthur was shielding us, because that's the kind of politics, a politics where it would be, you know, based on there'd be a lot of violence and like what happened in my country, Jamaica, where, you know, we had to whisper, you know, on a Rebel McDonald in Jamaica, you have to whisper to say which party you are supporting. That was back in the day. Now all of that has changed, you know. But that was the kind of thing that you know, I was told that Owen Arthur was trying to shield us from, to protect us from that kind of politics.
It is just
crazy. But he was duped too, you know, because that was his blowy girl at one stage, Ben. And I actually wrote to him pointing out those flaws. I said to him in the letter, but still find it around here, that she was a megalomaniac, despotic, I think, and he defied me. And he was able to see me in Super Center years after. He didn't apologize, but he told me it wasn't his fault, you know. And
you mean they fired you because you said that?
I wrote to him.
I've never heard this story before.
Yeah, I wrote to him. I wrote him. I find the letter. I'll probably one of my files about the place, because I was required to do something that I wasn't comfortable with. And I wrote to him, pointing out what I was required to do. And of course, in those days, she was his blowy girl. And I got fired. And I had to take them to court. And the case is still pending because no judge will touch it. And that's when she was Attorney General. So you know how long ago that was. Because after she was Attorney General, Dale became Attorney General, Dale Marshall. Then the government changed. You had Adriel Final Stewart, then Adriel Braffett. The government changed again. Now you got the same clown. I mean, you know what I mean, Dale and Dale Marshall. And now they're back. And up to now, to this day, I have not had a single day in court.
Wow.
You see? So
so you knew from back then that something was that
I was telling people so for all that time, you know, but nobody was willing to listen. Even Owen, he listened late, but by the time he had lost, he so many knives were in his back that he couldn't get them all out. I don't want to call myself a prophet, but I told him. I wrote to him.
Yeah. Well, we have quite a bit to, to talk about again here in Barbados, but we're so happy to have had the Honorable McDonald. Every time you come on here, I love when you come on because I love your spirit and I connect with you. And, because I would like to hear what's happening in Guyana on the ground. I want to know what happened to my people, and I want to use this forum so that others, like you heard the Dr. Ferdinand saying that he wasn't even aware of what was happening there in this manner. So, I mean, this is educating a lot of people. And every time you come on, we're going to talk about this because I deliberately want people to hear and understand what my Guyanese brothers and sisters are going through. And somebody said, don't call the Indians my brothers and sisters. Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
They are. And I have wonderful Guyanese Indian friends and here in Barbados. So I was shocked that they were doing that to me, But we want to tell you again, we support you, and we are using this platform to send out a call to CARICOM, because I know they got people watching this. That's partly why we're not on my regular channel. But we want to send out a call to CARICOM in the same haste that you ran to deal with this thing in Guyana, because it concerning the oil, and you're all into Guyana now because Guyana's oil. Can we try to fix this issue? Can we have a hearing, as Honorable McDonald is saying? I have one of those hearings that they call them, where the people come up and share what they're going through in the country. I think that is necessary. Honorable Coretta McDonald, is there anything else that you want to say to us before we close this segment?
Well, I just want to say thank you to this new family that I have, so that we can express ourselves, we can share with you what is happening in Guyana. And so when you hear from the folks on the government side, and even your government, when you hear them talk gloriously about the government of Guyana and what is happening in Guyana, that that there is another side to that coin. And, very often persons would tell me, Coretta, you have to be careful, you have to be careful. But I've been saying this for a very long time, and I'll continue to say it. I will continue to fight for ordinary people like myself. As long as I have life and I have good health and I have breath, I will continue to champion the cause for poor people. I will continue to speak out against the atrocities of any government. And let me say this to you. When the coalition government was in power, I joined with my members, the Guyana Teachers Union, the teachers across Guyana, and we had a massive industrial action. We took massive industrial action against the coalition. Again, salaries and not coming to the table with us. And so if I can do that against my own party, then I will do it against any other government who decides that they don't want to listen to people and who feel that they can trample on the rights of people. I will stand up for my people. I will stand up for women in my country, because there are some men who feel that they can take advantage of women. There are some politicians in the PPP who feel that they can tell women whatever they want to tell them. But I want to send this warning out to you. You might be able to shut the messenger down, but you're not going to be able to stop the message from going to where it has to go. And with that being said, we will continue to be a family. We will continue to speak out against the atrocities of the PPPC government. We will continue to talk about how wicked they are. And whichever forum I'm at, I will continue to speak about these without fear. Because I tell them every day, I tell Barra Jagdew every day, there is nothing that you have on me. And if you think you do, I give you the approval to tell the Guyanese people whether Coretta McDonald was involved in any illegal transaction with you at any time. You tell the nation that for me. But you know what? They can't do that because I am a principled person. Outside of being principled, I am a contented individual. What I don't have now, I will work hard to get it tomorrow. So I don't have to sell anybody out to get it. In my country, finally, let me say to you, our teachers are suffering every single day. Our education officers, especially the Black ones, they're suffering every day. As a matter of fact, many of them have been sidelined and they have been replaced by junior officers who they have to guide to do their work. But the Afro-Guyanese officers have been sidelined. And you have all of these persons who you're bringing on as cadet officers, and then you put them up all up there. But you know what? That day will come when we are going to be able to stand up and call a spade, or to continue to call a spade, and we would ensure that the spades are being used to do exactly what they were made to do. We have too many square pegs in round holes in Guyana, and we've got to get rid of them. And the people will do that come elections in this country. The people will do that. You know, every time persons stand up to speak about the PPP, they always go after you. One of these days, you might hear that they're going after me, but don't worry, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, because I tell them every day, the jailhouse was not made for dogs and cats. It was made for human beings. Nelson Mandela went there. And if by chance I have to go there, then I will go for my people. Power to the people. And that is what will set me free. So I'm not afraid of what they will attempt to do. I will continue to speak out. And if I have to call out Prime Minister Mia Mottley or Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves or any other Prime Minister, I will call them out. And mind you, I will talk about CARICOM on my program. I'm going to call them out, because you can't sit there, have your headquarters in my country, and so many atrocities are being meted out to our people, and you sit there saying nothing about it, and you live here in my country in comfort, and my people can't live in comfort. You know, we have been dubbed, again, the Dubai of the Caribbean, but yet we can't have proper drinking water in this country. We can't have a proper flow of electricity in this country. The roads, every time they do the roads, they do it today. Next 2 weeks, it's broken up because it's friends and family, and the masses are left to suffer. But that day will come when our people will sign the PPPC government off for good.
Wow, well said, and it's so encouraging to hear you. And we listen. You need to. This needs to be a weekly thing. You need to come on, because we're getting strength from each other. And
She needs to come to Barbados and drive some backbone and steel into the wishy-washy opposition people that we have here. I'm not calling any names.
Miss McDonald, thank you so very much. We could listen to you the entire night, but we have some other things that we have to deal with in this country. Thank you so much, and I apologize for all the technical issues, but you pushed through with us, because you know that it's a fight. Yes, you did. You pushed through with us. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And so for Christmas, our folks are going to be having their 6.5% salary increase, and cost of living is 20.2%.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
The life of Chinese, but don't worry.
Thank you so much. You're a powerhouse, as Natasha said. And we are happy to have had you tonight on. Thank you very much, ma'am. God bless you.
So if I don't see you again, let me extend holiday greetings to you, and I trust that God is going to continue to renew our strength so that we can continue this fight. Happy Christmas, Barbados, and to my colleagues on air here, happy Christmas to you.
And a Merry Christmas to you as well, and a great New Year, and God bless you.
Yes.
God bless you.
I feel powerful, Miss McDonald. I feel powerful. Thank you. God bless you.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen. Wow.
Oh,
What a
my
woman.
gosh. Yes,
What a woman! Wow.
this is really, 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 really very powerful, and I love how she's calling out
Yes.
CARICOM. We have so much to talk about. I know it seemed like Kimar was having technical challenges too. We all were tonight, just a little off, but we're pushing through. But I wanted to just share a little video here of something, will warm our hearts. It's at the cinema. It's coming up. It's called A Warm Christmas. And it is from one of my filmmakers, one of our friends. She's a producer, director and producer from Nigeria. And she is, her movie is in Olympus. So if you go to the Olympus website, you'll be able to see it. And I believe that we do have the video here. Yes, I am seeing the video. Is the video here? I believe it is. And we're going to play that now. Yes, it's here. So let's just...
Darling, we're sending you all to Nigeria for the holiday. Your dad and I want you guys to experience Christmas in Nigeria with your grandparents.
I still haven't figured out why Mom insisted on us coming here.
Wake up, please. It's time for morning devotion.
What in God's name are you wearing?
What does it look like?
But you clearly heard when I said we are going to the farm and then the stream.
I'm so sorry, but it's not my fault that I don't have clothes that screams poverty.
Just because we don't dress like you does not make you any better than us.
Your kids should go and play with those kids over there.
Hey, come and play with us.
We don't know you, so we can't play with you.
Why did they not want to play with us?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, baby girl. How are you?
I met somebody.
Annie, baby.
You see, nobody even wants to be your friend just because of the way you bully them. Here at Christmas, nothing is too much. We not only cook for ourselves, we cook for others. And then we get a lot of visitors.
I've been dreaming of a warm Christmas with you.
I don't think snow is going to last very long there.
It's a warm Christmas.
It's a warm Christmas.
Well, it premieres at the Olympus, and Mr. Franklin, you've got to take the lovely wife there to see this movie. Come on, man, you got to take her out. I think Mr. Franklin is Dr. Nichols is going to take the wife. And Kimar is going to take
we should arrange it. We should arrange it the same night.
So it's a movie night. We're gonna have a movie night, yeah. But it would be lovely. It would be lovely to go and just something different, to see how Christmas is in Nigeria, and we're seeing things that look very similar. But Kimar, good night. You still there?
Yeah, I am here.
Yes, okay. Right. Now we want to talk about what is happening with somebody just sent me this to my phone. I was so busy trying to work out the technical things. I don't know when did this happen. The National Peace Program head is removed. What's going on here? I didn't even get to read it. Akil Daly has been removed. When contacted about this development, Corey Lane, there's a noise coming through. Oh, okay. When contacted about this development, Corey Lane, Minister of State in the Attorney General's office, with responsibility for crime prevention, and who conceptualized the program, said Daly, who was the face of the unconventional program aimed at saving at-risk youth, was no longer involved and had been assigned to another ministry. I can confirm he's not with the program anymore. He is with People Empowerment Ministry. He brought a lot of energy to the program, as Barbados could see. I believe part of the thinking is to put some energy in other programs, so he was promoted to another program, Lane said, while admitting that there were rumors and whispers concerning Daly's departure. Are you familiar with anything about that, Timar?
Well, we said on the show recently that the Attorney General was angry with the fact that Corey Lane was made the minister in his office, right? And we are seeing the open repercussions of that. And from my understanding, there were heavy rumors out there that the Mr. Daly was removed because of some comments that he made openly about the Attorney General. And we had
on brass tacks.
Yeah, we had some voice notes that were circulating about what Mr. Daly would have said about the AG. And it was rumored that he said something about the AG not liking what the peace program does or so, and he was removed. So my thing is, if you would want to do something like that, because from my understanding, based on what they said, that the program and what the Coretta said is that the program helped, Mr. Daly helped to quell this ongoing violence and this ongoing war that we had in Barbados, right? But the problem wasn't there. The problem is that the Attorney General seemingly like he was definitely opposed to all of it.
Oh,
yeah, and the I guess in that he and they took the opportunity. If you understand how the public service works, if you openly oppose the government, they move you out the way basically. So this thing about being promoted to another program, I don't buy that.
That's rubbish.
Yeah, that's rubbish. That's just a nice way of saying that we fired you from the we fired you, and we're moving you into another department, because if it is that he did all of these things and it was working, why did you have to move him? They moved him because he criticized the Attorney General openly, and said he didn't on to specify the specifics, but he said enough to be moved. And I find that this is I mean, I'm not getting involved in the internal affairs of what the government is doing. It's their right to hire and fire at will, but if the program was indeed having results in terms of the impact on youth, the Attorney General could look past those things, and give Akil a chance. He seems to be a young man with his head on his shoulders, working, doing what he has to do. And if it is that the Attorney General's feelings are hurt, well, let them stay hurt, because the Prime Minister has said much more worse things about him. His colleagues say much more worse things about him, and nobody says anything to them. So why try to take advantage of somebody like Mr. Daly, who's working in just a subunit under his ministry? But this is the thing, and Mr. Lane, who is the minister, again showing no backbone whatsoever, because he can't stand up to the Prime Minister. This is the thing. He can't stand up to the Prime Minister, so that's why he will not be able to stand up. That's why he seemingly throwing Mr. Daly under the bus, talking about he may not understand how the public service works. What about that's not so? The problem here is that Mr. Daly probably offended, but not probably, he did offend the Attorney General of Barbados. and he used whatever influence or whatever he has to get the gentleman fired and removed. Tell me, if he's now with the Ministry of People's Empowerment, what job does he has? What is his job title? Probably none, because he probably don't even have a new job, right? So this is the thing. It always seems that people who come from these vulnerable backgrounds always tend to be the first ones out, right? And if they're saying that the people from the vulnerable backgrounds and they might not understand this and they might not understand that, I could probably put my head on the block and say Aki Daly understands much more about government than Corey Lane, who's the minister. Right? But again, no, that's just my comment.
Kimmer, if Akil knows much more than Lane, let me use numbers. Let's say Akil knows 10 times more than Corey. Corey knows nothing. You know, he knows absolutely nothing about the public service. He doesn't understand it. 10 times that. Multiply. See what you get. None of them know anything about the public service. They don't care about the public service. Mayor Motley, who is the minister responsible for public service, thinks it belongs to her and she can do what she likes. There is a system in place for hiring and firing public servants. And all of these people that they employ, that they get the permanent secretary to employ. Because if you read the article today, you will see Corey saying, oh, that's the permanent secretary thing. Permanent secretary employ. You know, the permanent secretaries are so weak and so dumb and so political, a lot of them, that they refuse to do their jobs. And then the minister says, you hire so and so for me. They are hired without any interviews, without any application before the Ministry of Public Service. All these things happen. This is the Public Service Act, Section 3. I just pull it up. I know you can see it. Public Service Act, Section 3. This act applies to the following persons in the public service, whether appointed before or after the 31st of December 2007. And it says A, public officers, and B, temporary employees. The way to employ these temporary employees is to go through the selection process that is set out in the first schedule, which is the Recruitment and Employment Code. But this government, even though this Public Service Act was passed in the dying stages of the Arthur administration in 2007, as a matter of fact, David Thompson and his people walked out and refused to participate in the debate because they wanted them out fast. They don't want them to have anything to do with it. But this act requires them to advertise these posts. And then all of a sudden, you would see Akil Daly coming from nowhere, with no experience or no training in anything. I don't think he's a social worker. And they are bringing people, active criminals, people who are still well in the program, but the night we're still going to rob a house or rob people and get sentenced to jail even while they're employed on this program. And then they will criticize the person who has served their time and has been reformed, but they are paying active criminals, people who are still in the business of criminality, who are still robbing and stealing and facing the courts, and their cases are up before the courts, and they are employed by the government and getting paid to be criminals. And then you think that, so there's nothing about this program that is wholesome or good.
I think though the intent though, because I come from a ghetto community, you know, and a program like this, Mr. If it is done well and with the right people, can really help.
Yes,
you know,
but then it must be done properly. It must be done properly. It must be done in accordance with the law.
Okay.
And they have broken every rule to employ their friends And the thing is, they're not even giving all the criminals money. They're giving some of them. They're actually, and these are people who have cases before the court. These are people who are still stealing. I remember we had a situation years ago where they had people in something called the drainage unit. The drainage unit will go into the district and they will clean the drains and the water will run properly and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they leave, houses in the area will be broken. But you know what's happened? While they were cleaning the drains, some of them were casing the joints. And then when they leave, they were calling sick and they go around to my house and come back to work. This is what this program is all about. They don't learn from their mistakes. They're bringing active criminals and paying them a salary to be active criminals. There's nothing wholesome about this. You look, you're out there shooting people, and you say, look, if you don't shoot people, but the thing is, you can't get $2,000 as they're saying. There's a lot of them getting more. But you're gonna give a fellow who can go on the road and sell little drugs when the day come and make $5,000 and you get $2,000 a month. If fellas can still go out there and do their thing. This is the government throwing their hand in the air and don't know what to do. All they think they can do is to throw money at people and mind you, their supporters. Because let me tell you something, and don't ever forget that the criminal element in Barbados helped got this government elected. So much so, and they can keep saying this till I die.
Interesting.
When they opened Parliament, they invited the criminal element to the state opening of Parliament. And I was present to hear police complaining that we gotta go and hunt down these people when the day come, nobody in here protecting them. Those were the words I heard from a police officer.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know who they were at the time because, I don't have criminal friends and I don't associate that kind of group. But then, of course, I lean my ear and I keep on listening, pretending I was not looking, but listening. And I heard, and at the same time, you were inviting criminals to Parliament. I asked them for an invitation for my wife, and they said the man got in the space.
Yeah. So this is why you would be a little concerned when you see this. I can understand that, but someone is asking here, and I'm going back to Kimar on this, probably because he's in the same youth age group. I like this. I like this young man. Look like somebody. I love young people, and I would love to know exactly what he what happened. I didn't. Someone only sent it to me while I was on the show. I had no time to research anything, but Kimar, do you know? Can you explain the peace program to us? Somebody's saying, what is this peace program? Do you know much about it? Can you explain it to us?
Well, from the outset of it, I can't speak to any great detail as to the machinations of it. But from the outset of it, the peace program is a program under the Ministry of Crime Prevention, which is under the Attorney General's office. Akil Daly was the director, the program director of the National Peace Program. And the peace program actually was an intervention program, according to Coretta, that is supposed to tackle crime prevention. So as opposed to tackling it after the fact, they are seeking to put an intervention before the fact.
No, this is during.
Before the fact, and during. So it's like it's taking people in terms of corrective action, give them employment, get them involved in different community programmings, training. So the program to the UK, they're on the radio, and they're engaging the fellas on the blocks and the like into the different. It's a community-oriented program. So the program had like football, and they had meetings with the gangs in terms of trying to do the peace. So the program and specifically Akil, from my understanding, Akil is the person who led the negotiations in terms of the gangs, right?
Oh.
And you saw that quote unquote massive reduction in terms of gang wars between the two gangs that we say that Barbados mainly has. Right? To be honest, from what I could see, there was a significant reduction in gang wars and gang shootings in Barbados. Honestly, so say we give Akil his credit for that. And the but I honestly can't tell you what more the program does outside of that. But the concern that the public has, and I guess the Attorney General, he's saying that he according to the voice note that was out there, it's being said that the Attorney General does not like what the program is all about.
Yes, I was told that by people, but I was pulled aside by people who, let's say, people who work in the program. All right, let me back you up in that. And this was told to me when I was on the march, and somebody, I don't think the person was part of the march, and they pulled me out of the march. They were on the side and whisper something to me to tell me that they're alleging that the Attorney General was not for the peace program, and that the Attorney General, I was told, the allegation is that the Attorney General was putting a lot of blockage and not allowing them to do what they have to do. This is what I was pulled aside, as God is my witness, and told. Continue, Kimar.
Marcia, let me jump in here. It pains me to have to sit down here and defend Dale Marshall. He is absolutely right. They knew who the criminals were. They knew who had the guns. They didn't know who were shooting at each other. And you actually pay people to stop shooting at one another. This is not governance. This is stupidity. I don't know what they were thinking about. Unless you want to go after at-risk youth, that is why the National Council on Substance Abuse was set up. We already got a structure for it. Let them go in and do their thing. They're trained for it. As a matter of fact, I was the first person to manage the National Council of Substance Abuse. I set it up from scratch with a grant from the International Drug Control Program, and a couple of other people gave me some money and some business houses in Bridgetown. I went and begged for money for and all kind of stuff. And the program is there, it's up and running. It is intended, not all these lonky surveys about how many little children they smoke dope and all kind of stuff and thing. It was supposed to intervene in the communities. We had programs in the Pine. We had one in Deacons where we refurbished the old school down there and had it as a workshop and place for people to come and a police post. We did all of that with people from the community actually doing the work. Mind you, I didn't have a lot of money to pay them, so I just gave them a stipend, but we got the work done. As a matter of fact, we had a quote for $800,000 to fix up the building and stuff, and we get it done for less than $100,000. I got into trouble for it because I didn't go to tender, but then I got somebody intervening on my behalf and said, well, look the kind of work that we got done. So we already have somebody to do it, and it was supposed to be under the office of the Attorney General. So this nonsense about a minister identifying the criminals that he grew up with and knew and getting them money, this is madness. This has nothing to do with any. It should never have started. Lord knows I don't want to defend Dale Marshall because they got much to defend about. But in this one, I can support him. This should never have happened. You are paying active criminals. I'm not talking about people who went to jail and come back and enter society and try to make a meaningful thing in society because you serve your time and you pay your debt to society. These people don't pay the debt yet because the judge ain't determined what the debt is yet. And some of them out there getting paid by government to go out there and be criminals. You don't understand, but they don't understand what's going on here. They want to have something, and they knew who the criminals were. Well, tell the commissioner of police who they are and let the police go after them because they knew them personally. But those are the people that get work for them.
That they were paying the criminals.
They're paying them.
They're paying them.
And they said, and if you look at the article, you would say that they said the Coretta turned and said, well, it's the permanent secretary, not me. The permanent secretary employed the permanent secretary was given instructions to bring these people. And the thing is, permanent secretaries are allowed to bring casual employees or people if you have a particular project that you want to do in the ministry. It comes they bring it from under what they call for services, and it is something that's not available. This thing is already available in the public and in the government already. So you're actually duplicating what the National Council of Substance Abuse is supposed to do and managing it with your criminal friends. That is nonsense. And they broke every rule in employing these people because I am sure none of them got employed through the Ministry of Public Service, who is supposed to be people recruited in the public service. None. And then you hear that he's gone out to the people, how do you call it? People's department. That's a joke again. How you get in there?
But that's what Coretta is saying, but that's not true. There's no record.
Go ahead, because you were saying something before.
Right. That's what Coretta is saying, but that's not accurate. Accurately, his name does not show up on any log to be working in the Ministry of People Empowerment. That's not.
It can't because he will not be properly employed, just like he was not properly employed in the Office of the Attorney General either. These are people who come into government and break every rule and bring their friends and the criminal gangs and all that and give them jobs in the public service. They're actually destroying the public service in the process. There are rules. They got a whole set of rules in public service. They got the Public Service Act, the General Law, the certain sections of the Constitution, public service regulations, all of these things, and they bypass everything in those rules to bring in people who they know to be criminals. But if the fellow that got sentenced last week or before, he was on the program getting paid too, but still go there and do his thing.
Yeah. But Kimar, thanks, Caswell. Kimar, you were saying something. Just
right. But as far as I don't know Akil to be a criminal. I think Akil from the late of it has his head on his shoulders. Probably has a future.
Seems that way to me. For him, this one in particular, yeah.
But he's just probably caught up in the web of internal political wars between the AG and Coretta and Mia Motley. And the comments from the minister were quite. I mean, sometimes I wonder who writes his speeches because sometimes I'd rather him not say anything than to open his mouth and just sound so stupid all the time. And
what did he say that was so stupid, Kimar?
He said that he needs a director. I don't want to quote him directly, but he needs a director, someone who can maneuver through the public service, right? And I want to read exactly what he said. And to me, he tried to paint Mr. Day in a very negative light. And I didn't really like the comment, how it read. But he said here that
while you look for that, but the question is, based on what Caswell is saying, what is going to happen if we decide, if the money dries out, somebody's saying here, and they can't pay those people anymore, what is going to happen to that,
the guns will go blazing again.
But that's the thing. In Jamaica, you have what you call a ganja for guns program, where the government was actually giving up marijuana in exchange for peace.
Okay.
So the government actually got directly involved in the drug running aspect to allow the criminals more free rein as it relates to trafficking marijuana. So I ain't saying that that's what happened in Barbados, but we gotta be very careful that those type of things are not happening under the radar, because where there's guns, there's drugs. And if you manage, you can't pay every criminal in Barbados $10,000 a month. That's impossible. So you have to find some way to incentivize criminal enterprises to keep the peace. And what exactly does a criminal enterprise do? You either sell drugs, you sell guns, or you sell something illegal. So
Right.
if it is that they agree to keep the peace, what's the common factor where they're keeping the peace? And in Jamaica, as they say, there was a ganja for guns program, and that is what thing. But when the government actually tightened up on those regulations, that's when the murders started to go skyrocket.
Right.
Because fellas now started to want to take away one another drugs and who want to be the bigger boss and stuff like that. They so you ended up with a violent barrage that the government could not no longer control because they flood the market, and if you're selling drugs, you got the guns to protect. You think so? That's where
Right.
even more guns started to come in, and you end up with this whole murder endemic over drugs.
Somebody just wrote something here and said to me that the program we're discussing is simply not sustainable. Because and the example would be that ganja for guns. We probably should do a little research into that. I'm going to ask somebody. I didn't know about that. I'm going to check into that ganja for guns in Jamaica. I'm all for people in those tough communities to find a way to help those communities. I'm all for that. It's a pity that this did not work. It's a pity. And if they're really paying them, it's not sustainable. What's going to happen if it's really that they're paying them, they're giving a stipend, as Caswell put it, not to shoot? What happens, or how long you're gonna, I hope that there's some kind of training or retraining and retooling of these young people are happening, or these people, because they're not all young people, that's happening at the same time. That's a more holistic approach. That yeah.
I won't say directly that, or but I just look at it as an incentive to change their lives. A lot of these fellas take this thing as a lifestyle, as fun,
Right, it's an opportunity then.
Yeah. So if the government is giving them $5,000, they can't get $5,000 nowhere in the world, especially having a criminal record, unless they're selling the same guns and drugs.
Yes.
So to me, the results were good in terms of trying to get people to live a different life, moving out to the criminal element, because there are not many opportunities available for people who wrote the law. I mean, I myself had a brushing with the law. I probably got to tell that story at some point in time, where my character was ruined.
I remember that.
Based off what?
I remember it.
Based off what a slimy attorney did. Right? And slimy. And he knows what he did too. So eventually I'm gonna put his name on here. I don't care if he associates with me or not. But eventually I'm gonna tell these stories, things like police corruption.
Yeah,
how you could just be sitting at home and the police just pull up, and if they decide that they want to charge you, they could just charge you for nothing, and you gotta go to court to defend your name, and then the newspaper putting your name all over the newspaper, tarnishing your reputation. I mean, then the government don't even give you no compensation, not a sorry, not an apology. Your whole life wrecked. And we know how Barbados is in terms of being unapologetic to people who had brushes with the law. Right? But then they would turn around and put a bunch of pedophiles and rapists and known crooks, financial crooks in parliament. Right? So my thing is, I am not coming down on the recipient so hard. Because they're trying to see it from the element that they may get this opportunity nowhere else. And the government identifying how vulnerable these people are seeking to use the state resources to take advantage on the problem, not to help it, but really to get votes.
But can it what if, because as someone, I grew up in that, in that's how I grew up, and that's why I have a soft heart for people who live in like that. My thing is, what else was with the program? Because I know that you come into those communities and you give somebody a 5,000, Himar, unless they have some kind of guidance and something that's going along with them, it's that done by the end of the week. You understand what I mean?
Marcia, watch here. Watch here. Right, look. I love young people, and when I see people, I try to persuade them away from crime and all kind of thing. And I help them. Sometimes I help them with money to whatever little bit I got. But this is not that. These are young people who are smarter than the people in the government, because not one of them has given up their gun. Ask the powers that be. They know that these people were doing the shootings. Now, how many guns did they collect in order to get them, according to Coretta, $2,000 a month in this article? I think they were getting more, but he said $2,000 a month. So let me stick with the $2,000 that he said. Right? You are giving people $2,000 a month, still has his gun, and he's still going out there doing crime when they sign off at 4:30, about the time they sign off at, they still go and do their business. The government was being played for fools. But it's not easy to play them for fools, because generally they are. But when you have a program like this, there's a kind of, you have an amnesty, you tell the people, well, okay, I'm turning your guns, we will turn a blank eye, we won't charge you, not kind of stuff. Nothing's going to happen. They just tell these fellas, because you're my buddy, we grew up together and stuff, man, don't shoot nobody no more, man, I can get a piece of chair. That's what it's all about. This is not structured, nothing. They had no real research into how you're going to get this thing done. It was a political endeavor to make things look good. As soon as this money ran out, you have not dealt with the problem. You only put it on pause.
Remember
this young man into it as well. There's a nice looking draw. This, I don't believe this young man is in any crime, but they draw him into this as well. But go ahead, Kimar, and I think Reverend.
No, Marcia. Before then, let me just point out to you what Corey said, right? And I can show the hypocrisy of it. He said there are persons who have charges, but these are just allegations. A person is innocent until proven guilty. And if these persons can bring value to the program, I will go to the mountaintop and say, these are the sort of people we need in the program that can influence change of behavior. We see it completely different. Then there are people, this is the hypocrisy, who would have served their time, convicted, found innocent, or even found guilty. So what is society telling me? That they come back and play a role in society. This is not that they can't come back and play a role in society. That is nonsense. Tell them stop spinning up in the air, because when you spin up in the air, it comes back down. And if you're still looking at it with landing your face, because you know what I'm talking about now, right? They are saying to us that these people, some of them would have served their time. We know people that serve their time. And then he's saying about people who are still, some of them are charged before the courts. But if they're charged before the court, let the court do their thing. Because then they still turn around and get sentenced. So who Corey fooling? That's why I tell you, Dale Marshall has done the right thing, because he's Attorney General. And the Attorney General is the chief law officer in the country. So you cannot expect a person with that position to be endorsing criminal activity. Without going to Parliament and getting these amnesties or whatever else. They just can't do it like this. He feel like there's the ranch. We can go up there and do what we like. No, this is real stuff. This is governance now, and this is law. And somebody said Corey, like he got a slush fund to use. That's probably what it is. You know, and it was a slush fund because when you run in the city that he had money galore. Right. To pay people. So this is all about elections again, votes and buying off people. This ain't got nothing to do with rehabilitating anybody.
Which is a shame. It's a shame, Caswell.
Using the young
let
men.
me let Kimar finish his point, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Ferdinand, who has been trying to say something. Go ahead, Kimar.
Yeah, Kimar, go ahead. Go ahead, Kimar.
I just wanted to say one more thing, and I mean, if time permits, I wanted to actually touch on one more topic.
We will go over a little bit because we had a lot of technical issues. I'm prepared to do that. for those who can stay. But go ahead, make the point, and then Dr. Ferdinand, please.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of mixing mud and water, with you having persons in the system and the Attorney General having to apply the full way to the law, there's definitely some type of conflict of interest in there. I guess it is. I mean, never thought I would say this, but I guess he's supposed to be protecting the integrity of his office. But this paints a deeper picture for us in terms of political wars, where young people get caught up in the midst of political wars, fights for power. Because I'm sure Akudin here himself, I'm sure that Corbilan, the man who said that he would never enter elective politics, by the way, he didn't give himself the ministry. And I can bet you the National Peace Program is not Corbilan's idea. That's the Prime Minister's idea. Right? So if it is that, if and I mean, he said we had to say he had to pay the piper. So I guess in understanding how when you speak openly against a government, you'll be forced to remove. And it's my understanding that he's not a public servant. He's supposed to be a contractor. And if you are a contractor and you still have to operate under the same rules that a public servant would have to operate at, I hope people see how easily you could be swept out and swept off the map if you say a woo against.
Let me correct you here. He is a public officer. He's working for the public. He is a public officer on contract. You remember Sri Ramalu, who used to be the government forensic pathologist? He was on contract all those years. He was never appointed in the public service. You still have to follow the public service rules. So says the general orders. And you still have to follow the rules in hiring and firing. But politicians get involved in these things and do what they like, and regardless of what the rules are saying. You cannot be asking people to follow the law and you're breaking it to get them to do so. And that is what is happening here.
Yeah. Someone is asking the question. The person says, my basic question is this: what problem or problems are you trying to solve with the program? Paying money is not the answer. Can you pay them as much as they can, not using drugs, I guess? What opportunity are they getting beyond receiving cash? What else is being done? Which is what I'm asking. Having come out of those kinds of settings and have family members, I'm trying to be objective rather than sentimental in my evaluation of the program. It will be interesting to quiz the participants to find out what difference it has made. And I love that. I wish that it was just a place that we could talk to some of the persons who came out of that program. I personally would love to interview them. But over to you, Dr. Ferdinand.
Well, I'll tell you something. And sitting here and listening, my mind went to an article I read today for the, and I just pulled it up. The first were leader facing murder charges for pushing the
Hold
jab.
a minute. Make sure what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm being very vigilant.
That is old, and he was acquitted. That was old.
But I'm not even going to that. I'm not going to whether it's old or acquitted or otherwise. I'm just wondering when we are going to see something like that in Barbados for all of what we're talking about. When are we going to see politicians who breach the law brought before the law courts? When are we going to see that happen? In other words, we have a continuation, a perpetuation of the same crap that we are facing every single day. If what you're saying, Caswell, is correct, where these laws are being breached on an ongoing basis, should not the director of public prosecutions be the person who takes that up? It's a breach of the law. Are we now dealing, or is this an evidence of dealing with one level of justice for one and a different level of justice for the other? This is a blatant and clear demonstration of it.
Now, let me explain something to you. The director of public prosecutions does not have an investigative arm. The investigators are the police. the police would investigate and then send the file to the DPP, and the DPP will say, well, yes, we can prosecute, or no, we shouldn't prosecute, whatever, because he has the right to do so.
And who calls
However,
to investigate
when you have the police are more BLP now than members in parliament, you have the police. You remember some time ago when some policemen were not promoted, and they said that they should have been, and they took people to court.
Yes.
And they lost here at the High Court, and then they lost at the Court of Appeal. And having lost, the government changed now. Having lost, this new government says to them, we can pay you, don't worry about that. And when the case was before the Caribbean Court of Justice, just about to start, the government intervened and said, no, we're paying them. No, one of them is commissioner. You got any? I am not attributing any improper motives to him, but you can see that there's a likelihood of bias. So you think he's going to come before? This is not like, well, I don't want to sing Israel's praises, but Israel brought charges against Netanyahu, and the Attorney General bring charges against politicians in Israel. We are not going to get it done in Barbados because we have too much power in the hands of one person. The Prime Minister decides, even though the law does not say so, she decides who will be head of departments. You cannot become Commissioner of Police unless the Prime Minister signs off on it, even though that's not what the law requires. You cannot become a permanent secretary, a head of department, or any deputy permanent secretary, any deputy head of department, unless the Prime Minister signs off. You cannot become Chief Electoral Officer unless the Prime Minister signs off. So when you see that the politicians break every rule to get elected, you really feel the Chief Electoral Officer who was acting besides and go and say, well, look, DPP, these people need to be charged, but nobody got a job after that. So until the politicians get their hands off for the people who regulate them, you appointed the person to regulate you. You don't see something wrong with that?
Yeah.
So that is the problem. Our country is completely corrupt. It isn't almost corrupt. It is so corrupt, it ain't funny.
Yeah. This is, and that it keeps coming up again. The last time we were on here, we're talking about the corruption, and it keeps coming up. That's why I say, we're looking at Guyana and we look at places like Jamaica, and we realize that this Barbados is fast becoming very, very similar. Very, very similar. We just have a couple minutes left.
Marcia,
we've gone over time. Yes, Councilor.
There is an issue that I think every person in Barbados should be aware of. And it has potential for bringing back another pandemic into this country.
Careful. Be careful.
I'm telling you. From today, but let me start. You know that before you get off the plane, the port health people have to come and verify that the men got nobody on that plane that's sick and bringing any diseases into Barbados or whatever. And you cannot get off a plane or a boat in Barbados unless, or ship or whatever, unless the port health people allow the people to come off.
Really? So that is since today?
That ceased today.
You said it ceased?
It ceased today.
Oh.
Without any fanfare.
It ceased today?
It ceased today. Today. From today. The port health people are no longer. What they did, they tried to pilot that program with Virgin Atlantic. And I am told by people in port health that the only time they knew that they had people sick on Virgin planes was when they saw the ambulance picking them up. They didn't know. And that did not work out with Virgin, but a certain person wanted it done because it was keeping them back too long. Because we want to go to adventure or whatever, fast, or whatever, from one plane to the next. And from today now, port health people are not, they have been told that they're not supposed to go and check the plane, they can do it online, and they can get the airline to sell it online, all kind of nonsense. You need to know who got sick on that airplane, or because sometimes you become on the road really good, you know. And then you find 8 hours over the Atlantic, and the symptoms start on you, might be Ebola. And since we are going to Africa, and we want to be able to make sure that they're going to sick people on that plane.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need to pick that up once it's not right? with that thing
and finally, I want to pick that. I want everybody to know about it. And finally, Santa Bradshaw said today, in relation to the young little 4-year-old who was conducting on the minibus,
I read
and
that.
cursing like a pirate, and the father telling how to curse people, who was the driver. She said, we need to call out those who introduce and perpetuate behaviors foreign to our culture and upbringing. LGBT is foreign to our culture and upbringing. Why should I say about that?
Well, you know, I want you to hold those. We're going to pick those up at the next show.
I write them down. I actually paper this morning and I write them down.
Yes, and I'm going to definitely, we're going to start the show off with those things on things, because we went over time, because I know Kimar was having some challenges this evening. Myself, I was having challenges. Everything was just a wire. Kimar, let's take a couple minutes and talk about the rates. I promise you that, and then we're going to close.
Yeah, well, today well, not today, but
the rates went down.
The rates went down because the fuel adjustment rates gone down. So.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
They owe you, you know. These people should really pay you, you know. Okay,
right. But that's what I'm saying. All of these consultants, right, getting paid $20,000 a month and $40,000 a month. I get paid. I mean, I go come and tell the government how to do the job, right? So the government should fire all. This is the reason why all of those consultants should be fired. Right? And I'm being serious about it. But more or less, I am happy for the people of Barbados.
Yes.
And I am glad. I need the people to see this. So I want to put it up that they could see exactly what we have here. That the government
we spent a long time on that on the show. It was done 2 nights. We did it. I believe it was 2 nights.
Yeah.
That was done on the show.
Mara said they should really pay you royalties, though. You know.
Well, you know what? It's a team effort. We work together, and you know, I'm telling you, if we didn't have such a strong team tonight, while Kimar is looking for it, tonight could not have happened. We are on Alternate Views. It's on Kimar's YouTube page. That's why I'm so guarded. I don't want nothing mess up his YouTube page. We're on Kimar YouTube page, and I want all of us. It's only 120 something of us on tonight because people can't find us. To like the page and subscribe. If you just click the little button, you will see a little hand, I think. Just like it. We're over there now, so let's bring up his numbers. Let his numbers go up. All right, over there. Go ahead, Kimar.
Yeah, so we're seeing here, I did that video cursing the government at the end of November when they held on to the bills. Remember, the bills were coming out late. I said in the video, the reason why the bills were not coming out early for November was because the government did not have any rate. So they didn't have any rate. So you see from October, they dropped the price from 44 cents straight down to 40 when they released it in November. I know they bring it down to 36. Right? So we saw that massive drop in the fuel adjustment charge, and that's the whole reason why like bills will definitely be cheaper for the Christmas period. So at least we know the people in Barbados will benefit from an 8% reduction in light bills for the end of the year. And I mean, it might not be that much, but I'm happy. I am happy that we think, and Caswell, you were complaining recently that you're paying all this money for fuel. So to drop it with 8% for us, I am very glad. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, Marcia, and you know the work that we've been doing It's really, really helping the people, and it takes more advocacy like this to tackle these type of issues. You think I mean, we got opposition groups out there. We got a whole opposition political party out there. We got all types of people, all types of economists, doctors, lawyers. I mean, they get to curse me every day and say that I'm an economist. Man, this ridicule me. But who else could be out there? And I'm definitely claiming this one. I'm taking this one. I'm claiming it as a victory.
Yeah.
That we were the cause of the government lowering this fuel adjustment clause for those 2 months, and it resulted in nothing but benefits for the people of this country.
Yes.
Great work, guys. Great work. And
I didn't have any. Normally they say, "Oh, the price of fuel went down and stuff." It was going down all this time, and they never brought down the fuel adjustment clause.
That's
right. But because of Kmart and the videos he posted and stuff, they were shamed into doing it, and it could be, and I dare say, it could have been 30 cents. But they don't want to break down too fast, man, because they still had plans for that money. Because who can pay for these trips? I understand one minister went somewhere in Europe, and then he said he can pass through Washington, D.C. for there, and $12,000 ticket and all kind of nonsense. So somebody got to pay for that.
Yeah. There was someone who actually called in, Kathy Weeks, and she had put up allow us to see her bill, and I just want to thank her for that. When it was done on this particular show, I know Kimar did some videos as well, but when it was done on this show, twice she allowed us to use her bill on 2 nights. I want to thank her for helping us to educate the people about what has occurred. Thank you all so very, very much. And it was a hard one. It was a struggle. Man, you should have seen us, guys. Well, working hard to make it happen.
I couldn't get on at first, I had to call Dave.
Oh my Lord! Why?
I couldn't get on. I had to call Dave.
Wow! Oh my goodness! I don't know what's going on, but thank you all so very much. Alternate views. I still don't know when we'll be back up on Africa Bridge, because I haven't gotten any correspondence, any email, anything about it. I will have to go and search now. I just went to start this evening, and then I realized that I couldn't. So I will see if it's permanent, or if it's like a 1 week something, or a 30. Sometimes they give you 30 days. I have to see what the ban is and what they said I did. So let's keep praying about it. And in the meantime, we can use Kimar is allowing us to use alternate views and to broadcast. Okay, thank you so very, very much, and we are inviting you to go out and to see this wonderful Christmas movie.
A Warm Christmas.
A Warm Christmas. From Nigeria. And Regina Idoar, and this is her film. And look at all these names. We can't pronounce all these names. No. Only Manuel we could
Not even going to try.
Not even going to try. Thank you all so very much, and God bless you. Thanks to Dave as well, who helped me get set up, and that wonderful opposition. You remember I was borrowing a computer? Somebody was lending me one.
Yep.
Well, I tell you. Now I get one for myself, and it's a Mac. So,
whoa! Welcome to the club.
I said, wow, I tell you, they will definitely want to make sure that this goes out. So thank you so much, those who are helping. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.